Okay, in theory, we're live. I'm just gonna take a look at this. Okay, all right, so we've got some people here. Sven was here early. Thank you so much to Sven for hanging out and waiting. Cyberpunk, Travis Rhodes, the Nerd Dad, and Dorkstick, thank you all for joining today. Collins, dude, thanks for you being here. I don't know why that was hard to say. I always appreciate you being here. Christo, volume sounds good, says Cyberpunk. Thank you for that. I do appreciate that early confirmation there. Patrick Whitcamp, super happy to have you here. Collins is putting away groceries. Do what you got to do, man. I appreciate you letting me know that you're here and being willing to hang out today. So nothing specific really to talk about today, if I'm being honest. I do want to talk a little bit about yesterday's video, but we'll do that in a bit. I want to get people's opinions on that. I want to kind of talk about a couple of things on my side of that, and we'll just kind of go from there. But as I've said in previous live streams, I am trying to do these more often. I feel like I don't want to say I feel obligated to do them, but I feel like I owe you guys something other than just regular-ish content. I like doing these live streams. I like engaging with you guys, and so I've been trying to do more of them, is what I'm trying to get at. And we've been doing them pretty regularly over the past few weeks. Honestly, I almost punked today. I almost said screw it and just played video games all day, but that's not fair to you guys because I said I was going to try harder. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to hang out. We're going to talk and just kind of see how things go overall. Super appreciate you guys being here. Honestly, Sven, I don't know. Sven asks, are you planning to do a video about vPro? I don't know. Here's the thing. vPro is much more of a business related thing, and I don't really have any other vPro devices in the house available to me, etc. The device that I do have with vPro on it is just the laptop that I got recently as part of the deal for doing the Intel video. But that's really all of the experience I really have with vPro personally. Like my my HL15 back there has IPMI, but again, it's not vPro. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Based on the response that I got to yesterday's video, though, probably not. And that makes me sad, honestly. Cyberpunk says it's a nice little community get together, so I enjoy the live streams. Thank you. I appreciate you being here. Glenn says, just popped in to say hi, but I got to go to work. Well, Glenn, thank you for stopping by to say hi before you run off to work. I hope you have a good day doing whatever it is you got on your plate for you today. I just noticed I gotta move some stuff there. Give me 1 second. All right, that's better. Okay, so I had a big box up there. You'll notice that I've got lights up here now on the shelf behind me. Like, lights have always been there, but recently they started flickering really, really badly. So I had to turn them down to like 2%, which made them look really bad, and they flickered. So I got some new LED strips for back there to kind of light that up and kind of give me a bit more depth to my shot. Also, as I'm looking at myself here on the big screen in front of me, I'm noticing that I need to do a little more tweaking with my image overall. I've been trying to get better image quality in my videos via this camera, and Nighthawk gave me some pointers, and I took them too far. My f-stop is I need to bring it up a little bit so that the text up there isn't quite as blurry. I still want the depth and the bokeh, but I got to do something different there. So, Cyberpunk says you can do some fun stuff with vPro on older systems, like install canonical mass bear. That's cool. I don't think I'll ever get to that point. I don't know enough about it to speak on it. As far as actually using it, I don't know enough about it to implement it and use it confidently for doing that kind of stuff. Like, I know kind of the gist of how it works or what it's capable of, but as far as actually using it, I'm not super proficient in that. However, that is kind of the shtick on this channel, is I make videos as I learn new things. And that's just kind of how I've always done things here on the channel, is I learn something that I really enjoy and I want to share with everybody, so I make a video about it. So yeah, that's kind of what we've been doing here for the past few years. But yeah, honestly, so like, I was disappointed. Like, I knew that yesterday was the video that I released yesterday wasn't going to do super well, because it is such a wide, kind of a big sidestep from what I normally do. Somebody yesterday made a comment about it being my first informative video, which somebody then used that as an opportunity to try to take a dig at me, which is whatever, right? But it wasn't a tutorial, it wasn't a review, it was just, here's some information about a product/service. And I think this is probably one of the first one of those I've done. But you know, it's something I needed to do to bring in a bit more money, again, to get my car fixed. Like, I'm able to drive my car, I just have to be very careful about how I drive my car. And I'm getting, as I drive it more, I'm starting to get more and more anxious about driving it. So in order to bring in the extra cash to get that fixed, probably not until the first of the year, because I don't know when that money is actually going to come through. Once I get that money, then I'll fix my car. Sorry, I've got stuff over here that's bugging me. I keep bumping my arm on it and I don't like it. So all of that is to say, I was while I expected the views to be low, I was disappointed in the like to dislike ratio. Like, I hit hard and fast early on. Normally my videos do like 96 or 97% like ratio. For a while yesterday, I was like 60% on that like ratio, and that that hurt my soul, right? Like so it's balancing back out. I think it's in the 70s now, which is better. But a few weeks ago, I'd actually made a video or made a post or a couple of posts or something about how, like, hey, because of what's going on, I'm going to have to take on some more sponsored content, and the reception to that was overwhelmingly good. So to then do the thing I said I was going to do that got the good reception, to have that get a negative reception was like, what the are you like? What like? I don't know how to respond to that. Like I was basically given the all clear by the community to take on the sponsored posts or the sponsored content or whatever, and then got like dislike bombed a little bit on doing exactly the thing I was told to go ahead and do, and I don't understand that. But the thing that I think I need to remember is my content isn't mine. Like my content isn't for me. My content is for the community. It's for the people watching, and it's that sort of thing. But sometimes the content has to be about me. Like that's the reason one of the reasons I make content. I got to be careful how I word that. Like I make content because I enjoy making content. I enjoy sharing the things I know, the things I've learned, the things I like. I enjoy sharing those things with whoever's willing to watch it. So in that regard, the content is for me. But once I release it, now it is the community's content. That doesn't mean, steal my content and upload it somewhere else. Please don't do that. I've had people do that, and now their accounts don't exist anymore. That's not a threat. I can empirically prove that. So I'm constantly learning about video creation and content creation and community and YouTube. Every video I make teaches me something. And you guys have been very instrumental in helping me learn some of these things. And some of the support that I've received through the negativity, through the negative response of yesterday's video, has been a learning experience, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It hasn't really been eye-opening. It hasn't been, like earth-shattering, but it's helped me kind of realign. It's kind of helped me realign some of my thought processes, and probably will so for a while as I'm continuing to create content. I want to keep creating content. I want to keep engaging with you guys and sharing the things that interest me, or even share the things that don't interest me and explain why they don't interest me. I enjoy sharing. I enjoy creating content. I enjoy, this little community that we've got. So I'm having to figure out how to balance doing the things I need to do to pay the bills and not pissing off the community, because right now is a weird time. Like I had an extra $600 in unexpected bills this month. It'll mostly balance out next month, but it hit me hard this month, which sucked because of course my transmission, the gear or the synchros on 2 and I think possibly 4 are screwy and not working properly. So not only do I have to get my transmission fixed, but I also had to replace my dishwasher. I just got a used or a refurbished unit that closely matches the rest of my kitchen. And then there was another unexpected bill that popped up. And so it was a lot to happen all at once, which has already got my mental health not in a great place, because when it rains, it pours, as we said in last week's video, and maybe even, or live stream, maybe even the week before that. So when I'm like, hey, like all of this stuff has happened, I got to do something to make up the difference, and I get the go ahead, and then I get dislike bombed basically on the content that I was told I could create. It's just like, well, what am I supposed to do then? Right? Like, what am I supposed to do to cover my bills, to cover my butt, to make sure that my family has the stuff that they need, after I've gotten permission from the community, only to have the community kind of like hurt that video. It's a weird place for me to try to intersect all of that and pick apart what to take away from that situation. So, Darren O'Leary says, I wanted to say thank you. Just started my home lab journey and used your videos to set up Cloudflare tunnels for my various services. That's awesome. I really dig that. I think I made 3 or 4 different videos about Cloudflare. And the first couple were kind of meh. Like I gave the kind of the general gist on how to do it. And then I made a big one that's actually pinned on my homepage on YouTube. That is like literally everything from buying the domain to setting up the Cloudflare account, pointing the DNS to Cloudflare, to installing, like the whole process start to finish. And I'm really happy with that video, and I hope it was helpful for you. Colin says, bro, you got to pay the bills. I trust your judgment that you can blend them. Nothing with a commercial, infomercial type when needed. You brought so much content to the community. I appreciate that. I do. And other people have kind of echoed that sentiment in the comment section of yesterday's video. And I know that it'll be fine in the long run. I was fortunate in that, yes, lots of people downvoted the video compared to the number of people who upvoted the video. However, I think I've only lost like 4 subscribers on it. Let me actually go check that. I want to make sure that I'm actually right about that. Content. Yeah, the like to dislike ratio on this one, yesterday early on it was 60s, like it was like 60% roughly. Now it's up to about 77%. So that's a pretty big jump, which I super appreciate, coming back from 60%. Still far below what I'm used to. So you know what? I'll just show you. Like, I don't have any shame in that. So this is the back end of that video, and we can see like it is well underperforming what I normally do here. But again, I only lost 4 subscribers, so not great. But it as the saying goes, it is what it is. Here's and in fact, it's contributing to 61% fewer views. So there you go. And here's what I'm going to take away from at least looking at those numbers, looking at this, especially losing the 4 subscribers. There is a subsect of the community online who is only into the community for what's in it for them. And as soon as something doesn't satiate their getting something for free, then they're gone, and that's fine. If me trying to provide for my family is going to run them away, then that's fine. I don't want them as part of my community, because that's a solipsistic way to view things. If it's only about me and nobody else matters, then okay, that's fine. Let's see. Let me come back over to here. Let me just do it over here. It makes more sense over here. Let me scroll back up. Cyberpunk says, for me as a viewer in a long time, and the ad is not being forced like a stupid segue joke and taking every opportunity to do an ad read. I try not to do that. Like there are some creators that I really, really like who will put 2 or 3 ad reads into, a 20-minute video or 25-minute video. And I try, like I do one ad. If I do an ad read, it's at the beginning or it's the whole video, but it's in the first like 90 seconds of the video. I might reference it again at the end of the video, and I just try to leave it at that. But I also try to make sure that there are usually timestamps in my videos. So for those people who are going to figure out how to skip it anyway, there you go, Richard says, thank you for the home lab, joining from Uganda in East Africa. That's awesome. I always love knowing where people are from when they leave their comments, so thank you for that. Linux Master says, nothing wrong with sponsored content. Once in a while, just be careful of the dark side. I would love to know what you mean by the dark side. I'm genuinely curious about that, Linux Masters. Yeah, I'm genuinely curious what you mean by just be careful of the dark side some other tech channels have fallen into. And then Linux Masters follows it up. Just as long as it's not sponsored only, the strength of your channel are your own insights and experiences, which we greatly appreciate. Like, and I tried to do that in that video, right? Like I tried to show here's how I would use this NPU for my own use case, and I demonstrated that. Druxpack says, my only issue is that it sounded robotic and not like you really wanted to do it. Trepidation makes for an uncomfortable video. I wasn't trepidatious about necessarily doing the video, but because it was a sponsored video, I had to slow down a bit. I knew that it's well known in the community that I talk fast. I always have, I always will. It's part of who I am. You know, I've even added, I added a page to my website. I don't know if I can even. I talk fast. I added a page to my website. That page, because I know I talk fast. Like it's just part of who I am as a creator. Like as a person, not even just a creator. I talk fast, so I slowed it down, and that is what you saw in that video. Is what happens when I slow down, when I have to like forcefully make myself slow down to the point where the average person can understand what it is I'm trying to say when I'm giving my point or reference or whatever. It doesn't sound like me. And that's why when I get all of these comments of like, you need to slow down, you got to slow down, you got like, no. If my cadence, if the way I present doesn't work for you, that's fine. You know, like I'm not for everybody, and I understand that. However, you can slow the video down. There are options to play the video slower. There are options to pause the video, and you can rewind the video if I've said something you don't understand and need to watch it again. But when I deliberately have to slow down for any reason, you get what you got yesterday. I made a choice to do that in that video because I knew that that's what the people paying me were going to request I do, is slow down. And that's, again, that's one of the sacrifices or whatever that happens when I have to change my presentation style. If I have to present differently than I normally would, then I'm not going to sound like I usually do, right? I think that makes sense. Radu says the beauty of living in Europe is that the car is not really required. I use it once a week. Maybe, yeah, that is not Colorado Springs at all. Anytime I spend a lot of time on Reddit. But anytime I see stuff pop up from the local, like the local Reddit for Colorado Springs, people asking, like, what are your least favorite things about the area? Its walkability is absolutely at the thing that people hate the most. It's a fairly large area, and there's the public transit sucks. The walkability is next to zero. Like it's just cars are mandatory. Like this city was built around cars basically, and that sucks. Chalupa says hi from Portugal. Glad to have you here. I think that's right. My Portuguese isn't great, but I think that's what that says. Lawrence Pritchard says, I actually enjoyed the sponsored video. I haven't been paying attention to new hardware, so it was a good refresh on what's going on. And your videos really helped save me a lot of time, so thank you for all your help. I appreciate you saying that. I really do. Okay. Linux Masters says channels like fill in the blank there. You can barely differentiate between what they really like and what they're being paid for. That's okay. I appreciate you explaining that. Thank you for that. I do appreciate that. I don't try to take on anything that I'm not actually interested in. I turn down a lot of offers. I turn down a lot of paid promotion because it doesn't fit not just the channel, but it doesn't fit me. And that's, I try to be cautious of that. I think what Intel is doing is with their new CPU line is a cool idea. I look forward to seeing second, third, fourth generations of the Core Ultra processors. Like I've got 2 devices with a Core Ultra processor. Excuse me, a little burp there. The first one was the Asus NUC 14 Pro Plus. That was a couple of months ago, whatever. And getting the NPU on that to work was a nightmare. And then part of the deal with the Intel video is they paid me a chunk of cash, which will be helpful. It's not a huge amount, but it'll definitely be helpful. But they also gave me a laptop as part of the deal. And it's got an NPU. It's got the Core Ultra, I think 165H in it. That's of course got the CPU, the NPU, and I think the Iris Xe GPU built into it. It's also got a dedicated 3000 Ada RTX GPU in it, dedicated with 8 gigs. But I'm interested in the product. I'm interested in seeing the evolution of the CPU line, of this new Core Ultra system. And I've been given an opportunity to get in on the first generation, right? Like I've had very few opportunities to get in on the first generation of a product, as far as, companies offering them to me for review or in exchange for review, whatever. So hopefully I'll be able to take a look at that versus the second generation and possibly the third generation. The 200 series are coming out very soon if they're not out already. So it'll be interesting to compare, like the 165 and the 185 that I've currently got to a 200 series when they're available. So while I'm not, super technically proficient in this technology, it's nice to know that I've got some experience now and I can make a comparison later, whether it's the hardware itself and its efficiency or the software that surrounds it. Because when I first did like the 165, when I first did the Asus NUC 14 Pro Plus, names are getting real long these days and confuse my dumb brain. Anyway, even getting Audacity to work with an NPU a few months ago was a vastly different experience than getting it to work now. It was much easier now than it was even just a few months ago. So I'll be curious to see in another generation how much easier and how much better it is then. So anyway, Cyberpunk says, I do have some Hope Lab questions, like what projects are you doing? Got me a Raspberry Pi 5 8 gig as a present. That's awesome. My home lab has kind of stopped. Like obviously it's all still there. I haven't added anything to my home lab really since I added Ansible and Semaphore, and even then I don't use it as much as I should. Like I got it set up and then it started causing problems because of the way I scheduled it. Like the issue was me. When I configured it, I didn't configure it to meet my own needs, so I kind of disabled it. But as far as like adding new things to my home lab, I haven't added anything in a while. Like I added Watchtower and Godify and Portainer agents to basically everything back there, so I can easily keep things up to date when I feel like it. I've kind of started slacking on that as well, but again, my brain hasn't been great over the last couple of weeks while dealing with kind of all the stuff that's going on right now. So sorry I don't have a better answer, I guess is the long way of saying that. Nothing has really changed here. I'm not really working on anything other than creating videos for the channel. I've got some stuff lined up for videos that I'm kind of excited about, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Radio says, I haven't watched your latest video, but now you've got me curious. Well, go give it a watch and thumbs up, thumbs down appropriately, and we'll go from there. PW says, some channels like the ones above can hardly even be watched with sponsor block, honestly. The channels that were listed above, I haven't really watched in a while. I've got my reasons for that. We've talked about some of that in like in Discord. I try not to do a lot of that kind of talking here on the channel, but I don't really watch those channels all that much lately for my own personal reasons. But I'm interested. I think it's interesting the way you've worded that even using something like sponsor block makes even those videos difficult to watch. Colin says the U.S. was built around cars. There are very, very few truly walkable cities. Yeah, that's kind of been my experience too. Like I grew up in a little town. Like when I left there, it was like 4,000 people in like 99, 2000, kind of that era. And then I moved to a bigger city. I moved to Boise, Idaho. I lived there for several years. And even that was, I think at the time was like 150 or 160,000 people. It might have been like 180, but I might be extending that in my head. And there were even that being a smaller big city was hard to walk. Like you could like my freshman year of high school, I lived in Boise for a while, and I lived in the ghetto. If I'm being completely honest, I lived in the ghetto there. But I went to school at like one of the nice schools, but only because it was really close to where my mom worked, which was also kind of ghetto. But that's beside the point. So like if I wanted, like my walk home was 2 or 3 miles to get from school to home, or I could just walk to her work and hang out for a few hours and wait for her to get off work, and then I could catch a ride home. But that was, yeah, no, it's hard to find. Like here's the thing, like and Collins knows this, but like a lot of big cities are just broken up into boroughs, and so and you very rarely ever leave your borough. Like you get a doctor in your borough, you get a grocery store in your borough, you get a pharmacy in your borough, and you get to a point where you rarely ever have to leave your specific area, unless it's a very specific need. But even that, like I can't even walk my borough to go get groceries or to go to my doctor or right, like even the nearest liquor store, of which there are plenty here in Colorado Springs, there's one that's about 2 blocks away. But because they're so close to the residential stuff, their prices are astronomical. So it makes more sense to get in my car and drive 2 miles down the hill to a big warehouse, basically full of liquor, where the prices are more reasonable. So, Sinister Spatula, I dig that name. That's great. Says local LLMs, automation, affordable home lab builds for self-hosting AI would be interesting. I agree with that. Now that I've got the laptop, I can probably repurpose the that Asus NUC 14 Pro Plus that's got an AI chip on it. I've done a little bit with automation. Like I've done a couple of shorts and a video about Home Assistant that I've got on the HL15 down there in a VM. I've actually deployed, I think, Ollama and Invoke AI. Obviously, Ollama is for text and Invoke AI is for images. But I only installed Ollama because I thought I was installing something else. So it's there, it's just not running. But here's the problem that I like. Look, I use AI. Like the thumbnail for this video, for this live stream, was done via AI. Like I know that now that I've been learning more about like Photoshop, I could have found a picture of a circuit board and I could have put the text on it and done what I needed to do. I could have done that with myself, but I went to like AI Kitchen or whatever. I think it's AI Kitchen. Anyway, it's made with Google or whatever. Because it'll take me a few seconds and the thumbnail is going to be this big and nobody's ever going to see it after this live stream. So I try to be cautious with AI because I don't want to go down a path where I'm taking jobs away from people. Like there are things that I want to hire people for, that I could do with AI, but I don't want to do with AI. I would rather have the personal touch of having somebody else do it. I just don't have the funds to hire people for those things. I'm trying to be very careful about doing a lot of AI content because I know that for a lot of people it's still a very sore subject. whether it's self-hosted or not, the training data that you're uploading to your LLM was probably trained on material that wasn't pre-authorized by the people who originally created the material that the data was trained on. And I know that there are things that you can do to train your own AI and that sort of thing. But the reality is most people aren't going to do that. They're going to go out and they're going to look for, for the models that are already trained, whether it's for text, whether it's for images, whatever. And I don't want to go down that path only to have it bite me in the ass in the long run. And that's honestly, I think, one of my problems, especially when it comes to creating content for the internet, is that I'm always very overly cautious about the content that I create, because there have been times in the past where I've had a gut reaction and I've made a piece of content and then immediately had to retract it, because it was the darker side of the internet, right? Like it was like, here's a video on, or here's a sponsor spot for, getting a Windows key for $4 or whatever. And of course there's a whole black market industry behind those things. So I'm always very, very cautious about the content that I create. So I always feel like I'm trailing just a little bit because I don't want to be on the bleeding edge of a technology or whatever, only to find out that it's going to ultimately be used for nefarious purposes by the masses rather. Like I'm learning as I go that there are certain companies that I have recently worked with that the people have a very negative opinion of. And I always seem to be on the back end of that knowledge. I'm very, I think, slow on the uptake when it comes to understanding why people are pissed off at these different companies. I'm always, and my point is, I guess, I'm always cautious about the content that I create because I don't want to be up in front of it only to find out, oh no, that was used, on the blood, sweat, and tears of a third world country, right? Like I don't, or of course that's hyperbole, but I don't want to be on the front edge of something only to find out that I'm promoting something that is hurting people. So let me scroll back up. I've seen. So Sinister Spatula, there's a really long convoluted answer to your question of maybe. Linux Master says, funny to see some car channels go pick up a car in a nearby city, which for me would literally be driving across the entire country. Yeah, I believe that. I live in Colorado, which is a fairly good sized state. Obviously, Texas, Alaska, whatever, bigger. But Colorado in its square feet or kilometer or miles, whatever, is bigger than the entire United Kingdom. So when I was there 15 years ago or whatever, what was just a normal drive across, not an hour long, which was nothing for me because I'd been in Colorado for so long. Driving an hour was nothing. But for the people who lived there, driving an hour is unheard of. And I found that separation very interesting. It's all about perspective, right? Like, I spent a month. Well, I spent 2 weeks in Scotland twice. So I spent a month over there and just kind of seeing the different mindsets about like distance. I had a friend over there who moved away from her family. It was like 15 minutes, and that was unheard of. How dare she? It was this huge debacle in her family. I go further than 15 minutes to go get groceries, right? Like it's a 15-minute drive is nothing. Like, but it's a weird mindset, or it's. And I don't mean that. It's weird to me to see how the mindset is different as far as perspective on distance and that sort of thing. But I totally agree. Driving to a nearby city, which would literally be driving across the country, that's easy to do here in the United States. Using Ansible to configure my local stack, mostly composed for Docker Compose templates. PW says using Ansible to configure my local stack, mostly composed from Docker Compose template files. I'm not that guy. Like I I haven't learned enough about Ansible to be comfortable doing that. I was using it to update my my LXCs, and I was working on getting it to work with my VMs, but wasn't having a lot of success with that. And then when I did finally get it to work with my VMs, the timing that I had setting up Ansible, or the time that I had scheduled Ansible to do the updates, was like Sunday morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, which would very often like reboot my Plex VM, which would stop Plex, which may not seem like a big deal, but the wife and I use Plex. Like we're watching Plex like all night long because we live in a noisy area, and it's just kind of constant, consistent white noise with the shows that we're used to. So I got to get more involved in Ansible before I get really comfortable with that. Regarding the YouTube content, I personally like to look for interesting new apps, or sometimes like the setup. It's more complicated. And then you specify like authentic. I don't think I actually ever, maybe I made a video on authentic. And like I'm always looking for new apps to make videos on. And I always like getting in early. When there hasn't been a lot of content made about a video. I've been very fortunate that hasn't come back to bite me yet. I did make a video recently about a Docker container where I made a statement in that video about this versus that, and then like a week later the developer changed their mind on how they were going to do it. So they kind of made me a liar. It's not an accusation. It's not me like pointing fingers. They just changed something after I made the video, which made the statement that I said not true anymore. And that's really about as far as it goes, as far as stuff biting me in the butt, is little things like that. Let's see. Sinister Spatula says, yeah, stay away from art and music, but coding and automation would be more acceptable, perhaps. I agree with that. And like I've done a little bit of code with AI that's worked out really well. So I might look at something like that. Radio says, I tried some split level DNS stuff recently. Main domain for public access and separate domain for private. Okay, using Cloudflare, but not much success. I'm not sure why you would do split DNS stuff when using Cloudflare. Like I just use Cloudflare tunnels for the stuff that I want publicly accessible. And then if I want something to be private, I make those things only accessible using two different IP addresses, right? Like I've got like my password manager and a couple of other things that I only want to be accessible from certain IP addresses. So if I don't want the public to have access to those things, I just restrict access by IP. And I actually do have videos about that. Cyberpunk says, I love automation. That's why I got my job and why every live stream I say the word Ansible. That's pretty funny. I can never remember the name of it. Active pieces for some automation, as far as like when I post a video, or a live stream goes public or whatever. Ansible checks my YouTube channel every 3 minutes for an RSS update, and then if it sees something new, it posts that new thing with some text and different things that I've given it across several different social media accounts. Still no integration with Blue Sky, which makes me sad, but hopefully they'll get there. I really feel like the Blue Sky API is much easier to work with than others that I've experienced in the past. Like I've got something called Postiz set up and running. Let me Postiz. And I think, yeah, okay, I'm not. Thank you. And I think we've actually talked about this in the past, where it's kind of a social media automation kind of, or it's not an automation. It's a social media scheduler, right? Where you can go in and like open up a calendar and schedule different posts across different social medias. And setting up Postiz with that was like the easiest thing I've ever done. So I'm hoping that that Active Pieces adds Blue Sky automation to their setup, because that would make my life a lot easier. But yeah, I use Active Pieces for a lot of that automation stuff, and then I also use like Home Assistant and that sort of thing to do different things at different times under certain conditions. John Lacates, thank you. Thank you so much for your donation. I really do appreciate that. That's very kind of you. I appreciate that a lot. Sinister Spatula says that Dockage still lacking features and updates, hoping picks up that project again next year. I would. So there was a 9-month span where there were no updates, and then there were some updates recently. I didn't see what they were though. Let's go take a look. Dockage. GitHub. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, so let's just switch back over to there. So there were some updates last month, like on the back end and in Docker. So there were a few updates. I redeployed it and I didn't see anything that had changed, but that doesn't mean nothing changed. Obviously something changed. I just don't know what it was. But I am hoping that that Louis Lamb will have more of an opportunity to keep developing that next year. I have the hardest time trying to program SSO for my sites. Yeah, there are there's some. Was it OIDC? Is that what it is? OIDC. Yeah, so OpenID Connect, OIDC. Yeah, so there are some of those containers that are available out there that I haven't looked at yet, but I've also started seeing more newer apps start with OIDC integration from the start, which I kind of dig. I just haven't done anything with it. Also, I apologize to Sven. Thank you for your donation as well. I really super appreciate that. Thank you for that. I really do appreciate you guys' support there. If you're hanging out, please be sure to leave a like on the live streams. Thank you, Collins. Appreciate that. Yeah, John. So PW says, John, visit Jim's garage. He has great examples of setting up SSO using Authentic. You can even make blueprints, which will automate the bootstrapping even farther. Jim's garage has been doing some really cool stuff with his channel. I dig what he does. Sinister Spatula says, Authentic was a bit too complicated for me, planning on looking at Keycloak. Yeah, some of those are really complicated, and they're like that, not necessarily by design, but because sometimes the integrations can be complicated. So yeah, again, if I don't want somebody to have access to something, I just restrict access to it. That's just how I handle it. Linux Master also says, yeah, maybe look at Tailscale. I agree with that. Tailscale is pretty cool. I've actually done some content on that, though it has been a while, and it's come a long way since then. Sorry, no, the knock wasn't what it used to be. It's 18. It doesn't matter. I still appreciate the support. Like that was very nice of you. So thank you, Sven. You should do a video on your Home Assistant setup. I have. I'm also heavily into Home Assistant and always interested in how other people are controlling things for inspirational ideas. Yeah, so Fred, I made a video about it where I just demonstrated some stuff. Let me see. Home Assistant. Damn, if I could type. Yeah, let me just copy link address. Yeah, so I actually made that video about my Home Assistant setup. Some things have changed since then. Like in that video, I had it set up so that like when I go into the bedroom and I turn on the TV, like all of the lights in the bedroom would come on. And then when I start playing a video, the lights would dim. And then if I pause the video, the lights would turn back up. I had some issues with Plex one night that caused the lights to keep turning themselves on even if we turned them off, and then it would hiccup again, and the lights would come back on, and we would turn them off, and the wife got real frustrated with that, deservedly so. So I changed how that works. I also changed the lights above my bed now turn on because the daylight savings time thing. Now they turn on at sunset. So that way we're not going into a dark room looking for the controller to turn everything on. They turn on, they're real dim, but it's enough to light the room up. The kid's bedroom is the same way. One of the things in Colorado Springs, anyway, most rooms, like bedrooms and stuff, don't have overhead lights. They've got a wall socket on a switch, and that's what you're expected to use. I've lived in several places here in Colorado Springs, and it seems to be that across the board for some reason. I don't know why. So I just kind of put a lot of that on automations. Like the studio here, when I first decided I was going to do Home Assistant, I was like, I'll just do it in the studio and see how it goes. So now when, like as soon as you open the door that's over here, the light that's directly above my head turns on. And then if you're in here for more than 45 seconds, then my two side lights turn on and all of the lights behind me turn on. If the room is empty for like a minute, then everything turns off except for the light that's above me. And then that light automatically turns off at like 9 o'clock at night or something. And that way, when we're going through, like we'll have friends over or whatever, and we'll do a fire pit in the backyard. That way this room is lit up, because in order to get out to the backyard, you have to go through this room. So I've done a few little quality of life improvements since releasing that video. But I will probably do one of those, like year-end review videos in the next few weeks, just kind of showing what my current setup is and how things are set up. Let's see. Jim's Garage is an absolutely fantastic channel, and the British accent makes things go down. Yeah, I agree. I always like listening to a good accent. John LeCate says, this is my main channel for inspirational ideas. I appreciate that. That's really nice of you to say. I get some of my inspiration from just running into things like over on Reddit, for example. Also, I get some inspiration from the Self-Host newsletter. If you're not familiar with that, you should be. Ethan Shawley is the guy behind that. And he's got the Self-Host newsletter. Well, he's got this whole website, but he's got a few different things going on here. Like, obviously the newsletter is kind of where he got started with this. He's also got this apps page, so you can kind of break down by, is it software? Is it companion software? Is it an activity pub? Open source? Like, there's all kinds of stuff in here, and you can just search whatever it is you're looking for. And this list has grown a lot since he first started it. I get a lot of inspiration from here and his newsletter. So yeah, I'll put this, if I could remember what tab I'm on. There we go. I'll go ahead and put that in there. Yeah, I agree, the newsletter rocks. Also, a couple of times a month, I get on and do kind of a podcast thing with him where we talk about that, about the newsletter for the day. Typically we record those Thursday night and they go live Friday morning. So I've been on a few of those. I really enjoy doing those. But I get a lot of inspiration from that, from not only the newsletter, but just kind of digging through the apps. And he's kind of given me a behind the scenes look on a couple of things, that's been super helpful, in my brain. But yeah, so I've got some ideas for some content coming up, that I still need to record, obviously. But one of them is a note-taking app, a documentation app, because those always seem to do really well here on the channel. So I've got another one of those deployed already, that I haven't. Sorry, that I haven't had a chance to fully record yet, but I kind of dig. I've got some questions about it that I think I'm waiting to hear more from the developer on. But I mean, yeah, it's like you can just. It's the same thing, but there's a newsletter link at the top. But yeah, so I get a fair amount of inspiration from Self-Host, but of course I supplement that with like Reddit, and then every once in a while, like as I'm scrolling through my phone, like the Google Discover thing will sometimes pop something up for me. John LeCate says, Joplin is my main go-to. I don't remember. I don't remember if I made a video on Joplin. Oops, Jop. Joplin. Yeah, I did. I did make a video on Joplin back in February of 2023. That video was, gosh, that was a while ago. And that video actually did pretty well. 42,000 views on that. But I never used it. Like, it was, and that's the thing. Like, I very often, like, after like sometimes weeks or months after I release a video about something, somebody will leave a comment like, well, how do you handle this in there? And I was like, well, I don't. Like, most of the content that I produce is because I think it's a cool project or not, but I create a piece of content because I think it will be beneficial to the community. It's very, very rare that an app that I make a video about actually makes it into my home lab. You know, I've got a separate dedicated piece of hardware that I use to create my content with, and then it's very rare that it ever makes it off of that device. Most everything gets scrapped after, like, a couple of weeks after the video is released. And I've got what works for me, and everything else goes in the bin, as they say on Mighty Car Mods. Linux Master says, did you make the WAF rant video yet? Yes, I did. I recorded it last week. I think I recorded it last week. And as I was going through the edit, I didn't like it. I didn't like my tone. I didn't like my presentation. I need to rewrite the script on it. I need to rewrite the script on that video a little bit and redo it. There were just things about it that felt very attacking, and I think some of it was rightly so. But some of it was a bit pedantic, in my own opinion. Even the way I wrote it, the way I delivered it in the read as I sat here and stared at this camera, I wasn't happy with the read, so I scrapped it and did something else that day instead. I will probably come back and give it another look. It actually popped up. I think Collins shared it in Discord the other day, where people in Reddit were having a conversation about it. And there were some interesting takes that I'd like to include in the video now that I've seen those. So that video is still on its way. I just don't know when yet. We'll see. Chad Wolf says, so sorry, the set to top messages instead of all. No worries, man. It happens. Salvatore says, ciao from Italy. Hi, thanks for joining. Appreciate you being here. Oh, cat came in. But yeah, eventually I'll get around to making that video. I think once some of my anxiety kind of calms down a little bit, like, I think probably after the first of the year, hopefully I'll have the money to get my car fixed officially. That will make me feel better. We'll get through the holidays. That will make me feel better. But yeah, so no, like I said, I tried to make the video and I just wasn't happy with it. If you thought my tone was off in the Intel video, my tone was way off in that web access firewall video, or sorry, web application, not web access, web application firewall video. So yeah, I'll get to it eventually, I guess, is what I'm trying to get out there. Man, I feel like I need to chill out with that Nightbot thing. It is being fairly aggressive in its constant posting. I need to dial that back a bit. I would be curious to know what you guys have got going on. If you guys have found any new cool projects that you've implemented, maybe I could make a video about that. Or if here's something else that I would really like to do, is I would like it if developers reached out to me when they've got a project that they would like to get more publicity on. Because I like making videos about early projects, and I like seeing, like I talked about earlier, kind of the, seeing it now versus, 6 months or a year from now. I like to see where it started. So yeah, if there are any projects that you feel deserve some recognition, I would love to know about those. I think that'd be really neat. But yeah, I don't have a lot going on right now. I've been really focused on getting content created. I've got some ad spots that I've got to get finalized. I've got some videos I need to get made. But that's really all I've had going on lately. Um, um, yeah, that's kind of where everything is. My brain is kind of fried. This week has been kind of a ride, emotionally, um, and so yeah, I've just been kind of fried this week, just trying to pump stuff out as I can. Managed to get ahead early in the week and then just let it slide, as I've done with a few other things lately. And I got to get my stuff back together. Oh man. Also, just as a heads up, if you look at the video description, for this live stream, there are some affiliate links down there, for some Black Friday stuff. If you guys are going to do any online, if you guys are going to do any online shopping like on Amazon, I've got an affiliate link down there. If you check that out, that would be amazing. Also, RackNerd, cool company that I've started doing some affiliate stuff with. They never sponsored any of my content. Man, I got this itch. They don't sponsor content, but they've got a great affiliate program, so that's why I've been pushing them so hard recently. They've kind of hooked me up, with a VPS if I want to do testing or make videos or whatever. Using their platform, I can do that using the little gift they gave me there. But their affiliate program is great. You could even go get signed up for that. That'd be cool too. But if you're looking for a good, reliable VPS solution, there are links to several different options down there for their Black Friday sale. If you want to check that out, that'd be cool. John says, love your channel, but take care of yourself. I'm trying, man. It's been a weird year. I spent months not being able to do a whole lot, because of health stuff in January. It took me till, geez, I got this hair. I even trimmed my mustache to help prevent this today. But anyway, so I was hospitalized for January, and then it took me months to get back on track, with my health, my lungs, my breathing, my blood clots, all of that. And then it's only been the last couple of months, last 3 or 4 months really, that I've been really feeling like myself, thanks to an amazing team of doctors who have been helping me get through a lot of this stuff. But yeah, no, I'm trying to take care of myself. I've been slipping the last couple of weeks, and I think a lot of it has just been like anxious eating. So anyway, so Sven says, what would you run on a I think you mean VPS. What would you run on a VPS that you wouldn't run in your home lab? I mean, it could be any number of things. Like, I know a lot of people, and in fact, I've done this in the past, run like an uptime monitoring solution, like Uptime Kuma or something similar to that. Because like if your server goes down, and you've got Uptime Kuma running on your server, you're not going to get that notification, right? So having a remote monitoring solution outside of your network isn't a bad idea. Some people will spin up a VPS through whatever solution, with a dedicated IP, of course, and use that as the only inbound traffic allowed. So they'll open up certain ports on their firewall, for a remote connection, and only have the IP address of that VPS as the remote entry point to get into their network, things like that. That's how I would probably do it if I wasn't using Cloudflare tunnels for remote access. And Solo says, what do you think about the new Windows on the cloud PC and the monthly subscription at $50 a month? For the average consumer, for people for people who've got a computer in their house, it's not a good deal. I don't think it's a good deal at all. If you're a business, and you want, just random examples, like you're a sales team, you're a call center, you're something like that, and you need to quickly and easily bring on new people to have their own systems to log into, I think it's a great idea. It's a thin client solution with a remote server. And I think it's a great solution for business applications, but for the home user, absolutely not. I don't think it's a good deal at all. Over the course of the year, you'll spend $600 at $50 a month. And for $600, you can pick up a decent little mini PC and a monitor and a mouse and a keyboard, and be set to go and not be tied into their service outside of being tied to Windows. Radu says, I just picked up a cheap VPS from RackNerd, which was nice. Thanks, I found out about it from you. That's great. I'm glad to hear about that. Uptime Kuma is the reason why I use VPS, and also the fixed public IP is absolutely. I also made a video where I featured RackNerd when I did the Amnesia. VPS or VPN solution. It's a VPN on a VPS. Amnesia. Man, I think it's that's the one I want. Make sure I've got the right one here. Yeah, that's the one. Copy link address. Yeah. So you could also do something like this with a VPS outside your network. Just depends on what you want to do with it. All at home, I am all Linux all of the time. I would like to do something like that, but there are just certain apps that I rely on. Like I know I could spin up a VM with Windows or whatever for those apps, but I just want things to work, and there's still too many maybes with Linux gaming, and I know it's gotten way better in the last year or two, but I also use Adobe, and yeah, I know that you can use Wine and you can use different things like that, but it's still not as plug and play as I want it to be. Jose says, did you know about Tuxus? They have 100 free gigabyte. Yeah, I don't. So they've got 150 gig Proxmox backup server. I don't know if I would trust that, if I'm being honest. I know that you would run encryption between your server and theirs and whatnot, but I don't know. I don't know if, like, and when I Google Tuxus, like their presence online isn't great. Oops, PBS, not D. Like their website doesn't, the Tuxus website doesn't do it for me. I don't even know if I'm on the right thing. Oops, it helps if I, PBS, let me try that. Tuxus NL, okay, that changes things. So Tuxus NL, ready to use for $18 or €18 per terabyte. I don't know. I get this makes me feel a little better. They've got VPSs here as well. Dedicated Proxmox server. The other issue that I've got with some of these is that if there's no price, like if there's no price on any of the pages, it's not meant for consumers. That's my take on it anyway. Like if I've got to inquire about prices, I probably can't afford it or don't want to spend money on it. Yeah, from $13, but it's always, I don't know. It might be fine. English. Yeah, I don't know. It's probably not. It's probably a great service. Probably just not for me. Oops. No. Let's do that. Jose says hi from Spain. Glad to have you here, man. Radio says I plan to install VPN also on VPS since it's located in the U.S. I can use them for U.S. only based websites. That's true. That's true, and that was kind of the point of the Amnesia video, was to have a dedicated solution for yourself. Amnesia is free. You can get a 1 gig VPS from RackNerd for like $11 a year with a dedicated IP. And as long as you're not going crazy and using like 2 terabytes of data a month, you'd be all right. Let's see, it's a company in the Netherlands. They're Proxmox partners, whatever that means. but I haven't used them yet. I don't know. Yeah, no, I don't know. I've never heard of them. Probably because they're a company over there, and that's probably their shtick over there. Talked about it in Discord a while ago. I may not have been there, or maybe I just don't remember. Entirely possible. Naveen says, "Hey, love your videos. I'd like to see some content on things like Grist and other Office suites and apps." Let me take a look. Grist self-hosted source. Oops. Sorry, let's see, what is Grist is a modern open source spreadsheet that goes beyond the grid. I mean, maybe. Here's the thing, and it's one of the issues that I've had in the past, where I've absolutely had videos that I could have done better. And look, I'm sure this is a great product, but here's the thing, right? Like, that's so bright. It's like, I'm not good with spreadsheets. Like, I know there are people out there who are brilliant with spreadsheets, who can do all kinds of really cool things with spreadsheets, and I'm just not that guy. So like, I can think of, like, I did a couple of like no code or low code databases earlier this year or last year, and it's like, here's how to install it. Best of luck. Was basically the gist of the video, because I'm not a database guy. I'm not a spreadsheet guy. So for me to try to do anything other than show how to install it would be a waste of everybody's time, because I don't know. Basically, it's a case of I don't know what I don't know, and there are so many different things that you can do with these databases, with these spreadsheets, with those kinds of things, that I would miss the mark on or speak about incorrectly. And I don't want to do that to myself, obviously. I don't want to look like an idiot on camera more than I already do, but I also don't want to misrepresent the product, and I don't want to mislead the viewer. So again, it's one of those things where I try to be very careful about the content that I do produce, and I don't want to mislead anybody by misstating something like that. So Linux Master says, for a few euros, you can rent a root server at Hetzner in Germany. I've heard of Hetzner. I've heard of OVH as well. Linode is always the best for me, but can get expensive if you don't watch it. Yeah, in fact, I was partnered with Linode for a couple of years. They were great to work with. And then there was an acquisition, and everything about what they had been doing forever had changed dramatically, and we parted ways. I've gone on. There have been conversations about it in our Discord before about some of the things that were observed, not just by me, but by other members of the community. And so I think parting ways was the best call for me with Linode. They've got a great product. Their support is great, but as far as me partnering with them, I didn't feel like it was a good fit anymore. So yeah. Well, so Radu, a root server can mean any number of things. It could be a VPS. It could be dedicated hardware. It could be bare metal. It could be any number of things that you've got root access in order to do what you want with it. So if you wanted to reinstall the operating system, you could do that. If you wanted to install an application, you could do that. Basically, anything that the root can do is kind of the idea there. Yeah, there you go. More eloquently stated by Linux Masters, but same general idea. Nighthawk, glad to have you here, man. Thanks for showing up. Appreciate you hanging out. So it's always nice to see familiar faces and, of course, new faces as well. Let's see what else we got. Make sure I haven't missed anything else. Oh, man. I think a cat just got sick in the garage. That sucks. Yeah, you could go to the dark side and use AWS. I'm not like so, and that's still something that I need. Like I've got my HL15 over here, right? And I've got uh, I've got Proxmox installed as my hypervisor on that, bare metal, just Proxmox on as the base OS, and then I've got several LXCs and a few VMs running on that. And every night, that HL15 gets backed up to one of the Synologies up on the top rack. And then that Synology gets backed up to another NAS. So I've got like 3 active copies of anything that I've got, but I don't have anything offsite at the moment. The best I've got is a NAS that turns on for a couple of hours once a week to do a weekly backup of some of my stuff. And then it goes offline the rest of the time. But I need to get something off-site. Like AWS has like what they call cold storage that's super, super cheap. But there are other options out there as well that I could do a backup of my backup basically. But I just haven't done it yet. I've been trying to convince myself to do it for a long time. But there's always this underlying thing in my brain that says don't do that. So let's see. Chalupa says, "Is this real?" It's as real as you want it to be, Chalupa. That's all I can really say. Everything outside of your own thinking is subjective. So if you believe it's real, then it is, and if you believe it isn't, then it may not be. Yeah, Bezos does make a lot of money already. Nighthawk says ingress fees get you when you're trying to get access to your cheap backups. I believe that. But hopefully you won't be needing access to your backups very often. So that just depends on what your use case and what that sort of thing happens to be. Use Synology Cloud Sync and push those backups once they get to Synology to some cloud service. There are a bunch that it works with natively with. I'll have to look at that, Collins. I appreciate that little bit of information. Radu says, Oracle Cloud is great if you're a masochist. I've never actually used Oracle Cloud. I think there's an Oracle here in town, here where I live. Oracle, Colorado Springs. Yeah, I've seen that building. It is. It's just. I think it's way up north. Yeah, that zip code tells me that it's way up north, just right off of 25. Oh, by the Ford Amphitheater. There you go. Anyway, yeah. So I've never actually used Oracle for anything. I don't think. But there's always a learning curve to any platform. So. Oh, you were talking about the Blue Sky account? Like I have a Blue Sky account, yeah. And lately I've been posting pictures of my cats there and some other stuff as well. But yeah, I do have a Blue Sky account. Blue Sky tab. I think that's what it is. Oops. Oh, I think that's, yeah, there we go. And then, yeah. So if you want to follow me on Blue Sky, yeah, there you go. That's me. Anything that's not that isn't me, at least on Blue Sky. And I've been on there, like I've actually been on there for a while. Since I think May of last year, I've been on Blue Sky. But I've only really started messing with it in the last few months. But like, we'll just go over here. Yeah, that's me right there. Like my followers, it's mostly cat related stuff, but like 3 days ago I had 200 followers. But the engagement on here has been great. Basically, like everything I post gets some engagement. You know, like there's my cat Anubis. He came over and posed for me, so I posted a picture of him. And then before that it was Cloud. Those are my boys. And like you can see, like great engagement over here on basically everything I post. I get engagement. This photo was taken last summer, like literally 2 feet away from me. That's my backyard. Those are my raccoon friends. But no, like Blue Sky has been really nice. It's been great engagement. It's been great to just chat with people. Like again, this was literally 2 feet away from me. I was feeding them raisins and that sort of thing. Had this interaction with a squirrel the other day. Like I'm sitting in my wife's desk chair, and this is one of the female squirrels in the neighborhood. Like this one, like at this point, she just sits up here for like a full minute and eats her peanut and then checks me out, right? Like she's not afraid of me. She's just hanging out, trying to see if I've got more peanuts in my hand. There's a longer segment of this video where I actually had an extra peanut in my hand later on. But like, you know, here she's checking me out. But yeah, so like I've been a big fan of Blue Sky because it's just, it's like it's not that it doesn't have trolls and it doesn't have extremists on both sides and it's a very easy place to find a group of people to just chat with and be friendly with and share animal memes and that sort of thing. So I really dig it. Let's see. Chalupa, you're welcome. Radio says never heard of Blue Sky. Is it a U.S. thing? Looks like Twitter. It is not just a U.S. thing. It's all over the world. Jack, one of the original developers of Twitter, started Blue Sky, if my memory serves correctly. He and somebody else started Blue Sky, and then Jack left Blue Sky, but it is basically a replacement, an alternative for Twitter or X or whatever. It's kind of built on the same. It is now what Twitter used to be, where it's just people, you know, talking and sharing and connecting. And look, there are absolutely political stuff on there. There's absolutely trolls on there, but they've done some things on Blue Sky to make it so that it can be less toxic. Like there are starter lists, getting started URL, like Nighthawk said here. But you can also share additional lists of people that you think are cool, and you can just like one click follow them all. There are also like big block lists for trolls, for people who are constantly just spamming different things, good, bad, or indifferent. You can just block entire groups of people with one click. You can follow entire groups of people with one click. There's a lot of different things on here that I think are great. So I've been spending a lot of time on Blue Sky lately, compared to some of the other sites. So no, big fan of Blue Sky. Been spending some more time over there. But again, I think Jack from Twitter started Blue Sky and then left to go do something else. And the numbers on Blue Sky have skyrocketed recently. Blue Sky numbers. I don't know. So this was updated. Oh, this was updated today. Let's go look. Desktop. There we go. So this is a name Pepper. I've never heard of. How many users is Blue Sky? So here are some things that were updated today. Currently has over 22 million users, and it gained more than 5 million in the 2 weeks following the results of the U.S. presidential election. That's true. I've been on there again since like May of last year, I think. And then, of course, with users splitting their time between Threads, Mastodon, Blue Sky, many are hoping this year will be the clear alternative to X emerge. Like I'm on all of those. Threads doesn't do it for me. I don't know why. It just doesn't. Mastodon is great because you can have different servers set up for different things, and you can access different servers and interact with different servers and people on different servers and that sort of thing. One of the issues that I have as a creator with Mastodon, I know that it's a federated platform, which means anybody can spin up their own Mastodon server and call it whatever they want. The problem is when I grab a link from my URL shortener and share it to my Mastodon, well, the Mastodon instance that I'm a part of called Fostodon, as soon as I post it, it goes from like 0 clicks on this URL shortener to like 150 clicks because it's being spit out across all of these different servers and being checked. So it really skews my numbers when I share anything link shortened to Mastodon. So that's my only complaint with it. But again, Blue Sky's been really cool. I really dig it. So yeah, just more information over here. Yeah. So founder Jack Dorsey. He was the guy that did Twitter. Owned by Blue Sky Public Benefit, C Corp, not owned by X, though formerly incubated within Twitter. But again, that's because it was before the new guy took over. Leadership, Jay Graber. Jay's actually pretty active on Blue Sky, which I appreciate. But he's talking about the platform and talking about things that they're doing to improve it. Yeah. So anyway, that's what's going on there. If you haven't checked it out, you should. I think it's cool. But yeah, so that's Blue Sky. John says wasn't a fan of Threads either. Threads seems like an engagement farm. All the useless posts from farming for engagement. Yeah, that's kind of how I felt about it. I think what Threads is by Facebook, if I remember right. Threads. But anyway, yeah, I tried Threads for a while and I just couldn't get into it. Blue Sky feels like the old days of social media when it was just about cat memes and pictures of your latest meal. Yeah, that sums it up really, really well. And people have good good conversations over there, and people can be heard without a lot of the rage bait, which I super appreciate about that as well. What else? They're called Meta, get it right. Yeah. And Google is called Alphabet, right? Nope, stop. Sorry. Of course I said that. Google decided to take off and do their thing. Holy crap. My fucking FedEx is awful in this area, and our package finally got delivered. Sorry, I was just looking at notifications over there. Have you ever thought about doing collabs with other YouTube creators for some kind of stuff? I have. I've done a few different collabs with different creators. I genuinely, I think I did one with Techno Tim. There's just a few little, just where I kind of pop in for a few seconds here and there and some different things. A couple of times a month, I do a video with Ethan over at Self-Hosted, or the Self-Host newsletter, website, podcast. All of his little enterprises that he's building. I've been a part of that a few times. Both this year and last year, we did a live stream together so this year we did a live stream together on my channel. And then last year we did a kind of a podcast kind of thing over on his setup, where we did the year-end roundup in self-hosting. I've talked to other creators. We've talked about doing some different things. In fact, oh damn it, I can't think. Christian Lampa, I actually did a live stream with him, and I kind of feel bad about my attitude on that live stream. His channel was much smaller than mine, and that didn't play into what was going on. I was just still in a bad mental health space, and I wasn't as kind and polite to him as I could have been, and that's always bothered me. But his account, his channel has taken off. He's doing really well, and I'm really happy for him. So I've done some stuff. I've done some collab stuff in the past. I've had, I think Tech Hut reached out to me a while back about possibly doing stuff, and then he's been busy. I think he recently graduated college, so I know he's been super busy trying to get some stuff wrapped up. So I would love to do more collaborative stuff. You know, if it makes sense. Colin says, yeah. Colin's got to hear me rant about that for a day and a half. Instagram is just people sharing photos, and it screws up Facebook, and Facebook is all, dude, right? Like, you know, it's funny because like I will sometimes like doom scroll Facebook's homepage, because it will show me people who are showing off their sound systems in their cars or their trucks or their whatever car, just a catch all there. But it's always pulling in videos from Instagram. Sorry, I heard the cat come in, and then she walked behind me there. So yeah, but most of the time that I'm on Facebook, there's a feeds page, which is more just the people you follow. There are still ads and that sort of thing, but it's not 80 posts of stuff you've never heard of, and then a friend post, and then 45 posts of stuff you never heard of, and then an ad spot for a company that you bought something from 5 years ago. So I spend a lot of my Facebook time on the feeds page, but I do scroll through and look at like the sound system stuff in the video segments. My issue with those though is there's a couple of creators that show up regularly that I don't like, and there's no way to block them from showing up in my homepage video feed, because it's being pulled in from Instagram rather than being pulled in natively from Facebook, and it's the whole thing is just a crap show. See, Thomas says Technotem might love dark mode for his stuff, but not his set. I agree. I've been a big fan of dark mode in my apps forever, and I've kind of done a dark mode thing here. And doing dark mode can be complicated. In fact, Nighthawk actually helped me with my video recently, within the last few days. I had my ISO turned up to like 800 or something, and it was causing a lot of graininess in my video. And of course, you guys are this is a live stream, so there's going to be more compression, and it's like going to be like 720p or something. I guess we can do 1080 on live stream. Anyway, but there's going to be compression that's out of my control with live stream. So I set my ISO to 400 per Nighthawk's recommendation, and then adjusted my. Did I say? Damn it! Anyway, so many numbers. I set one of them to 400. I think it was my ISO, and then I set my f-stop. My f-stop we talked about a little bit earlier is too low. I need to open that up a little bit and change a couple of other settings, because if you look right there, if you know that says amazing channel members, then you know that it says that. But otherwise, it's hard to read, and I acknowledge that. Yeah, thank you for clarifying that, Nighthawk. So I need to change my f-stop to something higher, and then compensate with my shutter speed, so that my video stays clear, but the bokeh. Jesus, dude. Yeah, and would you bring some wipes so I can clean myself?
Are you done with
No, it's fine. I just heard a big crash out there and about pooped and.
that bubble wrap right
Oh.
so we just stepped off the court. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No, it's fine.
Our
It's
most ninja
it's fine. He's got it. There he goes. Anyway.
Please continue.
Yeah, thank you. So. Yeah, so that's what I did. Sorry for the little interruption there. It happens with him. Like I said, in order to get to the backyard, you have to go through here. The gate on that side of the house is closed for the kids' safety and locked and whatnot. He can't get through there. But yeah, so I set the ISO to 400 to reduce the garbage, the whatever in the video, so it should look sharper. But then set my f-stop too low. So now we're getting a ton of extra bokeh like in the screen back there. So I need to bring that up and adjust my shutter speed to compensate for all of that. That said, I spent a lot of time dicking with all of this prior to yesterday because, like, you may notice that like the shelves behind me over here, are lit up more than they have been in a really long time. I had some LED strips up there from a company, and they just flickered a lot. And even the anti-flicker built into my camera wasn't helping. So I swapped those out yesterday. I found a pair, like a 5, I think it was a 5 meter thing from Govee for like $10. And I put those up there, and now they're all set up on Home Assistant and whatnot too. Excuse me. I need to bring those down a bit as well. But so anyway, I'm always tweaking things here to try to get a better look. But when you're dealing with a dark mode setup like this, it can be kind of difficult to get your lighting to work. Luckily, I've had some help with that here recently. So let's see. All right, Nighthawk. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this right now. Oops, nope, wrong one. Okay, so there's ISO at 400 and f-stop at 8, which now you can't even see me. So let's just play with this for a second just to see what happens. Yeah, I dig that you got that reference, Collins. I'm not gonna say what that guy said, but oops. Oh, you know what? Maybe I can't. I think. Oh, it's gonna be like that. Damn it. Story of my life. Anyway, oops. Yeah, we're just gonna set that back, and then we'll bring this. Yeah, so my f-stop's at 2.5. Yeah, I can't do it live right now. Like these lights apparently are as bright as they'll go, basically. So yeah, I would really need to bring a lot more light into here, and then I would be blinding myself. So I'll figure out my f-stop and compensate with my shutter speed. I'll compensate with that later. But let's see. Haha, family who have them, right? Let's see. We're gonna do it live. Yeah, like that clip. Every time it shows up in my feed, I always laugh about. We're playing Peekaboo on live stream. Nice dark mode. Can read the TV now, but you're gone. Yeah. So yeah, I got to figure out what I want my f-stop to be, and then compensate with my shutter speed. A real stream with perfect imperfections. Yeah, that seems to be it. So because like I don't. Here's the problem. In fact, you know what? Let's do this live too. Oops, wrong one. Oh yeah, here we go. Oops, wrong way. Wrong way. I apologize. But like, do you see all the garbage behind me? Like all of those boxes from projects that I need to do, that sort of thing. That's why I like a dark mode studio, is because I can hide that pretty easily with just keeping the room a bit darker. So anyway, I'll probably never get there, but we're gonna keep working on it. We're gonna keep having fun with it. We're gonna try some different things out. Like right now, I've got 2 Elgato lights. I can't remember what they're called, but they're the Elgato, the square ones that everybody has. And then I've got an LED panel above me, and then I've got a hair light above the TV. That's actually, you can see it reflecting off of the rack right there. That gives my hair a little bit of glow. And all of that's done with, or turned on via home automation or home assistant, whatever. Anyway, Snowball Effect says, "Dude, you're good. Just keep doing it." Yeah, like I'm always messing with stuff. I like to tinker. I like to change things. I like to try new things. Get some infrared cannons. I don't know if I know what that is. Infrared cannon. Okay, let's look together. I googled infrared cannon. Well, I don't think this is what I'm looking for. Maybe Nighthawk will be so kind as to, in the Discord, share with me at some point what he means by that. I'd be curious to see what that would do, because I don't have any idea what that would do. I'm definitely bright lights without blinding you. Interesting. Yeah, let's talk about that later, Nighthawk. That'd be pretty neat. Anyway, so yeah. Let's see. I was going to shoot some videos for my. There we go. Sorry. I was going to shoot some videos for my new builds, but thanks to the latest Windows update, they killed my webcams. What? That doesn't seem right. That's weird. I'd be curious about. Oh, they don't support them with the latest release, so you got to wait for the webcam firmware to have an update so you can use them. That sucks. I'd be curious. What kind of webcams are you using that you're having issues with? I'm curious about that. That definitely seems weird. Magnum Gaming says, "What was your biggest lab achievement so far?" Also, thank you for creating. It's why I got into home labs. That's cool. Logitech 1080s. Logitech 1080s. Huh. I'm surprised that Logitech would have issues like that. I'm not saying they don't. I'm just kind of surprised by it. So what was my biggest home lab achievement so far? Getting my wife's blessing? No, that's not true. She's been super supportive through all of this. Biggest home lab. It's going to sound trivial to a lot of you guys probably. Getting a GPU to pass through. It's probably my biggest achievement so far. And I just mean like within my home lab itself. Because like, look, like this rack behind me, all of the NASA's in it, the HL15, yeah, like the networking gear that's in there, like almost all of that was provided to me. Like I've got a 10 gig switch right there that I bought, and I've got a pass-through patch panel with you just plug a cable into each side that I bought. But the rack and basically everything else in it was given to me, in exchange for reviews and promotion, that sort of thing. So I'm very thankful to have been able to work with, Synology. They were the first company to ever reach out to me and be like, "Hey, we want to send you a big thing," and that was the DS1621XS Plus with, I want to say 16 gigs of RAM and 8 terabyte drives, I think. And it was valued at like six grand at the time. They were the first ones to reach out to me, but I've worked with like Synology and TerraMaster and the HL or the 45 drives team and TP-Link, Tapo. Like I've been very fortunate to work with all of these companies, even Sysracks. Like I bought the rack, like I ordered it from them, and was like, "Hey, can we do something with this?" And they're like, "Put out the video and we'll see." So I did, and then they just refunded me the cost of the rack. So like they've like basically so that's an achievement. But that's a different achievement. That's a YouTube related, content creator related achievement, not a home lab achievement. So yeah, definitely I think getting help from everybody in Discord to get a 2070 pass through from in the HL15 to do all of my Plex encoding was probably the biggest achievement. So yeah. Stop supporting them. Oh, Logitech 515 and 615 stopped supporting for Windows 11 24H2. I'm not on 24H2 on any of my systems. I don't remember. Like I think I'm still on 23. something. I'm gonna see. I'm curious now. That's not the right thing to click. Properties. Yeah, I'm on 23H2 at the moment, and I don't have any plans to jump to 24H2 until I absolutely have to. I've heard a lot of really undesirable things about 24H2 with compatibility issues and restrictive issues, things like that. I hope that doesn't become an issue. I hope that at some point they work through that, they get that sorted. Because I don't know how much longer this setup that I'm on right now is going to keep doing things for me. Like it's still fine, but like just so you can kind of see. Desktop, here we go. Studio PC, AMD Ryzen 5 2600 6-core, 32 gigs of RAM. That's what I've been rocking out here for a long time. And it's great for live streams. Like I've got a 2070 in it. I know I'm pointing over here. There's another computer over here. But it does live streams great. No issues at all handling that. But I could probably swap out this power hungry PC with honestly probably a mini PC out here and still do my live streams without any issues. Because I've got I could probably do that. It'd be an interesting test to see how that would work. But yeah, so the system that I've got that I use out here is dated, and at some point I'd like to get it updated. But anyway, yeah. So my point is that I haven't had a chance to, or I haven't taken the chance to update to 24H2. Just because I don't want to yet. And I used to be somebody who was very much all about getting the newest updates, as soon as they were available. But then here a few years ago, Microsoft laid off their entire test team. So now we, as the consumer, even though we've paid for the operating system, that's gonna kill my lights. Give me a second. There it is. I'm thinking because he just walked through that it's going to kill, or it's going to trigger the wrong thing here. Give me a second to disable studio presence off. There we go. Master lighting. Okay, there we go. So yeah, like Thomas said, we're the guinea pigs. Absolutely, the users have become the testers for Microsoft over the past couple of years. And I know that there are people who do it to themselves via... That was interesting. Okay. So there are people that sign up for like betas and early access and all of this kind of stuff. And I don't know why you would do that to yourself. I genuinely don't understand why somebody would do that to themselves. But yeah, once Microsoft basically laid off their entire testing team, I quit doing early adoptions of their updates because it just wasn't worth the headache that a lot of these updates are causing. So yeah, I just don't mess with it anymore if I don't have to. I wait until the system is like, if you don't update, you can't log in. With a lot of things, like I keep my drivers up to date whenever possible, that sort of thing. But as far as actual Windows updates, I don't do them very often unless I absolutely have to. So yeah, I don't know why the kid came through a minute ago. I thought he was done, and then like 30 seconds later, he came right back through. I don't know what that was. That is parenting right there. Kids just do things for whatever their reasoning happens to be. Unfortunately, I can't ask him. He can't tell me, and that can be frustrating. But it is what it is, as they say. Oh, that's... Damn it. Sorry, Oh, here we go. What was it? Oh, infrared. Damn it. Hold on. Infrared Canon. Video light. Let's try that. Interesting. Sorry, I was closing out tabs and I came back over to the page that had all of the scope stuff, and I realized I had apparently searched for a very specific thing by a very specific brand. So I'll have to look at infrared light photography for video light. So if you're still around, Nighthawk, is this more what you were talking about with stuff like this? 800-foot IR illuminator, no hotspot wide angle. Interesting. I would definitely be curious to see if this is more what you were talking about with regards, because that's what it looks like they're doing there. You put a link in Discord. Okay. Let me see if I've got my Discord open. Let me do this real quick. Let me see if I've got Discord over here. Thomas says, if this keeps up, I'm going to Ubuntu. Yeah. Again, if it wasn't for Adobe not supporting Linux, then I would probably have already jumped ship. Because I know that there are a lot of games that are available on Linux now. But I don't know. Oh, it's doing updates. It's going to take forever. There it goes. Maybe. We'll see. Let's see. A couple of these. There it is. Oh, okay. Let's pull this back up. So it's a 120 IR illuminator, long-range infrared floodlight for security camera with power adapter. Interesting. So you're saying that with that, I could add maybe a couple of those, like over here somewhere pointed at me, and it wouldn't blind me, but it would lighten my video. Is that more or less the gist of what you're talking about there? Oops. There we go. Because if that's the case, then I'm all about trying that. I never thought about that. That is the hope, LOL. Interesting. Okay, well, then I might... Oops. Hold on. I got to let the cat out. Hi, I know this is what happens. Huh? I know you get stuck in here. Come on. Off she goes. Good girl. Thanks. Anyway, sorry, I just got up and watched myself walk away there. That was fun. Yeah, so she gets trapped in here. If I don't let her out, she'll go hide somewhere in a shelf or something, and that falls apart. So anyway, yeah, I will definitely have to take a look at something like that. Yeah, I'll have to dig around a little because I think that would be neat. If I could improve my video quality. So it's been a while since I did some work with it all. DSLRs are different because of the CMOS sensor. Could have an IR cut lens that would make it not work at all. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I think I would try something inexpensive first. And anyway, so yeah, I'll have to dig around and see what I can find with regards to something like that. I think that would be an interesting idea, because that would allow me to kind of tone things down even. Because even this, I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but it's kind of bright, and it's constantly in the corner of my eyes. So if I could do something that would let me bring these down, but not blind me by having stuff in front of me. The other thing is also not having a direct reflection in my glasses. Like I got the anti-glare lenses, which help when I got these glasses a few weeks ago. But still, I get glare at certain angles. That's kind of frustrating, especially when I'm trying to do one of those stupid faces for a thumbnail. Wow, kids really having a good time out there. But yeah, I'll have to dig into that. That's an interesting idea that I will have to take a look at, because I'm definitely always interested in improving my setup here. Honestly, I'm surprised that this camera still works as well as it does. I've had it for years. I think the Lumix G7 was released in like 2015 or something. And even to go on Amazon right now and look for a Lumix G7, it's still $500 or $600. Yeah, $500, $600 if you get the full kit. Which I didn't. I just got the camera and a lens, but yeah, $500 for that, and it's still it's a 9-year-old camera, and it just keeps working. Yeah, I'm sure we'd get something figured out, Nighthawk. I just it would just be a balancing act of lights and settings and whatnot, and you've been hugely helpful with that lately. See, Magnum Gaming says, have you had a chance to look at Zima OS? Currently using it and like the RAID functionality. It's a beefed up version of COS OS. I have. I've actually got a Zima Cube down here that I need to get some new hard drives for once the rest of my life calms down. And I like it. It feels more polished. It feels more finished than COS OS did or does or whatever. I like the RAID functionality. The problem that I have with it is unless you're very, very careful about how you do it, it will I can't think of I can't think of the file system that it uses, but it's like RAID, but not basically. Anyway, when I went through and did my first setup on the device, like I had a 2 terabyte. What was it? Oh, so it's got X number of hard drive slots, and then it's got another slot that's got like NVMe drives in the Zima Cube, right? And I'd put all of these different drives in there, and I was just kind of clicking through. And when it got to the part about storage, it was like, hey, just click next, and we'll build out your storage for you. What I should have done was actually clicked the no, let me do it myself thing. Because it took like all of the 4 terabyte drives I had and the like 256 gig drives that I was doing some testing with the NVMe slots, and to put them all into one big jumble, not quite a JBOD, but kind of a JBOD. And it really, like, I had to basically undo all of that and go back and rebuild my storage from scratch anyway. Ended up taking up time that I didn't want to take up. But that was my fault. I was just clicking. I wasn't reading as thoroughly as I should. There are things that I like about Zima OS. And I like that they're adding more functionality to it with remote access. And I think they've got 0 tier or tail scale built into it now. Those sorts of things. I think it'll be a good product as it matures. I think it'll be all right. Does Jet KVM have any promise, or do you think it's all a shell of a product? I'm hopeful for it. They didn't reach out to me, which is fine. I'm not hurt about that at all. The form factor on it, in my opinion, is weird. I don't know how you go about like mounting that somewhere, putting it somewhere that's easily accessible. But like I've got my Tiny Pilot that I use for that kind of stuff. I understand they're a different product, but like with my Tiny Pilot, which is a Raspberry Pi KVM thing, what I was able to do with that is for the mouse and the keyboard and the HDMI port, I was able to plug in another KVM to that. So then I've got like 4 or 5 devices that I can plug into it, and I can still use the shortcuts on my keyboard to toggle between those different devices, and use the Tiny Pilot as my interface. So that's, I'd be curious to know if the Jet KVM can do that. One of the issues doing it via the Tiny Pilot is there were only certain KVMs that had been tested successfully with it. I don't know what the restrictions on it were, but Tiny Pilot reached out. They sent me, they actually ended up sending me 2 of the Tiny Pilots. One of them I think Colin's got. But they also funded me getting the additional expansion set up for the Tiny Pilot KVM. And I actually made a video about that. Tiny pilot. So let's see. I've got 3 different videos on that. I don't remember which one is which. So there's my first Tiny Pilot KVM video, and there's my second one, and then I did this third one, and I don't know, I genuinely don't remember what they all cover, but so yeah, I hope, like, it looked very responsive, it looked very intuitive, it looked like Jet KVM looks really cool. Like, I dig it. The form factor is a little weird for me, and I'd be curious about its extended functionality, that sort of thing. But I wish them all the best. I hope it works. I know that several people have made videos on them recently, and I haven't had a chance to look at it, but it looks cool. John Lacate says this weird word that I can't pronounce can sync tweaks between Blue Sky. Yeah, I don't want to do that. I'm trying to stay away from the other site as much as I can at this point. Like, I will still go and post things there obligatorily, if that's a word. But beyond that, I don't really share much outside of, like, content and promotions that I've been contracted to share over there, because it's still technically an engagement point. I just try not to share anything personal over there anymore. But yeah, no, I'm trying to do, I'm actually trying to do something a little different on Blue Sky at the moment. Like, in fact, I talked about this on Blue Sky the other day. One of the things that I've done to myself with social media is I have obsessed over it. Since I started creating content to the degree that it is a good chunk of my monthly income. Let me rephrase that. It is, yeah. Anyway, the problem is I'm so focused on how many views did that video get? Where's the drop off point? How many subscribers did I get? How many clicks out did I get? What was the engagement rate? How many likes? Like, how many, like, if there was a sponsor spot in there, how many clicks did I get from that video to the sponsor spot? Like, I'm constantly digging through these numbers to the point where it's driving me insane. It's been really, really bad for my mental health. And what makes it even worse with going through all of these numbers all of the time is the numbers don't mean anything. There have been plenty of videos that I've been really happy with. I put lots of time and effort into. I've done all kinds of extra stuff. I've really put a lot of my heart and soul into some of these videos, and then they do nothing as far as views or engagement or whatever. But very often I'll just be like, crap, I don't have a video. I need to have a video for tomorrow. Let me go find something real quick. And I rush and I put together, a 15-minute video about something that I've put no effort into, and it does, 50,000 views. And I know that it's a bit hyperbolic to say it, but it seems like that's how it does, how it works for me. Like, every time I just throw something together and put it online and walk away from it, that video does really well. But when I take time to actually make a video that I'm super interested in, about the topic, about the product, about the service, about the whatever, even if it's directly home lab related, even if it's a Docker container that I truly, truly believe in and want it to do well, the more effort I put into a video, the worse it does. So again, I find myself at this crossroads of trying to find how much effort do I put in to the script? How much effort do I put into the editing? How much effort do I put in to the marketing, if you will, the social media posts and that sort of thing? Do I just go find something the morning I've got to record and put out a video and hope for the best? Or do I put effort into my videos and waste 3 days of my life crafting a video only to have it do basically nothing in views? I never know what's going to pop off. I never know what's going to do well. And that eats away at me. That genuinely keeps me up at night so much. The doctor has given me meds to help. Look, and it's absolutely a me issue. I've done this to myself. It's my personality type. It's like I'm always trying to do better. I'm always trying to make my next thing better than the last thing. but it's hard to do that when I see that I put all of this effort into a video, into a project, into a whatever, only to have it perform, like when as a content creator on your dashboard, it will show you like, here are your last 10 videos, and here's how they all ranked compared to each other as far as views were concerned. And when I spent 3 or 4 or 5 days building out a video that I'm really, really happy with, I'm really stoked about the end result. I'm really happy with my presentation. I'm happy with the edit. I'm happy with all of it. And then to see it do, it was 7 out of the last 10 videos, man, it makes me sad. I always want my videos to do well, obviously. And I know they're not all going to be, 1 out of 10. But when I can throw something together in 2 hours and have it be a number 1 or a number 2 or even a number 3, or I can spend a week on a video and have it do a 7 or 8 or a 9, it's like, what am I doing? I have no idea what I'm doing most of the time. So I just make a video and hope for the best. And that's my business model. That's how I roll here on the channel. And I'm just genuinely hoping for the best with every video, because I don't know what's going to work and what's not. When I put out a video about like, hey, I've got 3 video ideas. I want you to pick from one of these 3 video ideas, which one would you like to see done? And people are like, oh, well, I've got this Macintosh from 1928, and I'd like to see how I can install a 4090 in it with, and I'm like, really? Like, I feel like it's a constant crapshoot, and I don't mean to be down. I don't mean to be negative here. I'm just giving you some insight into kind of what's going on when I'm creating content, because it doesn't seem to matter. It doesn't seem to matter, right? Like, anything I put out is either going to do well or it's not. And it doesn't seem to matter how much effort, how little effort I put into a video, it's going to do well or it's not. Like, I don't have any way that I can ping the community and get a solid answer to find out what kind of content people are interested in. I can't say, if I put in X number of hours into a video, it's going to do X number of views. I can't. It's not possible with my channel, with my content, with my whatever. I haven't figured out what the code is to say, okay, if I make this video, it's going to do really well. I have no idea how to do that yet. So I just make whatever video that pops up, and that's that's what I have to do. Snowball Effect says he's got some suggestions. He'll hit me up on Discord. I appreciate that. So that just, that's probably what I will continue to do until I crack the code or somebody helps me crack the code. I'll just keep making whatever video and hope for the best, because that's all I know how to do at this point. So, oops. So there's my little YouTube creator rant for you. I just make whatever content and hope for the best. Oh man. But again, like I said, Ethan over from Self-Host has offered me some insight based on his analytics and that sort of thing. But again, even some of those videos they're like accounting software, and they're things that I don't know how to use. So the best thing I can do is like, here's how to install it. Best of luck. And I don't like making those videos. I like to show a demonstration of how to use something, and then get into the installation process, and then kind of wrap it up, right? That's kind of what I've been trying to do for a long time. But beyond that, I don't like to just do it like, here's how to install it. There you go. Those videos feel disingenuous to me, and I don't like to make those videos. I'm not saying all of the recommendations he made. He gave me a snapshot of some of his analytics. So again, it's a constant learning experience. Colin says that I need to show more cleavage. Dude, I don't even like to look at myself naked in the mirror when I'm getting in the shower. So I promise you guys don't want to see that either. Yeah, no, this is as good as it gets right here. Everything else, you don't want to see it. Um, but here's the thing, like I still, despite all of that, right? Despite having no idea what I'm doing with managing my content and running a YouTube channel, I still enjoy the creation process, right? Like I enjoy the investigation, I enjoy the troubleshooting, I enjoy taking a complex problem and simplifying it, so that more people can get in and use that product or that service or that whatever. So I just, I enjoy that, so I keep making videos. And like I've had lots of people reach out to me and be like, we'll edit your videos, or we'll make your thumbnails, or we'll do this or that or the other thing, and it's just like that's the part I enjoy, right? I've had people tell me, well, I'll write your scripts. I don't want you to write my scripts. Like I don't want you to edit my videos. Like there are things in there that I feel need to be there that only I'm going to be able to do because it comes into my brain when it comes into my brain. Or sometimes I'll have an entire video predicated on a certain edit that I want to do. I haven't done one of those in a long time, but I've done those. But my point is, I enjoy making the videos. I enjoy doing the investigation. I enjoy the hunt for the new product or service. I enjoy all of that. I just wish I knew how to get more consistency in my views. Kazi says, that's why I personally watch your videos. It's because you do what you want. I appreciate that. I really do. I don't know if I don't know if it's consistency. I don't know if it's my delivery. I don't know if it's the topic. I don't know if it's the thumbnail. I don't know if it's the edit. I don't know what the issue, I don't know what it is that's holding back my videos from doing better. I've got some thoughts on what it could be, with regards to maybe it's because I talk too fast. I'm willing to accept that. I'm not willing to change that, but I'm willing to accept that that's what it could be. I'm also willing to accept that a few years ago, I was an awful, awful, awful person in my own comment section. I said some really reprehensible things in my comment section to people asking questions. And I that still bothers me. I still wish I could go back and personally apologize to each of those people, but I can't. There could be any number of things that's keeping my videos from doing more views. I just don't know what it is. And I can't afford to hire an analyst to help me with that, right? Like I'm getting by right now, and that's all I can say. It's like I'm getting by, my bills are getting paid, but I don't have the extra to hire somebody to help me with things, right? I don't have that luxury. So everything just keeps coming out of me until something hits, and then I try to replicate that, and it doesn't. So I don't know what to do with it. Kevin says hello. Glad to have you here. Snowball Effects says create mini courses. I've done things like that in the past, and they over time did well. The problem is that let's say I create a mini course on Zima OS. That mini course is only going to apply to Zima OS people, right? So now I've created 5 videos that are a sub niche within a sub niche within a sub niche. If it's a mini course in Proxmox, that might get more viewers, but it's still a niche within a niche. And I've actually tried to get away from doing that as a result. I've been trying to find content that is more openly more openly, accepting is not the right word, but that's the word I almost said. Accessible is the word I was looking for, to people who are looking for a password manager or a this or a that or the other thing. Not everybody wants to do Proxmox. Not everybody wants to do so. So it's and I want to say that I appreciate your suggestion. I absolutely do. John says what I'd look for is how you integrate services, like the strategies, which hardware, etc. Linux Master says, indeed, your own personal unique style. I like your videos, thank you. And the Intel is great. You're getting a big, you're getting sponsored by big companies. Yeah, I am. I am, and that's another thing, right? Like, and I mentioned this earlier, and I think I even mentioned it in a comment on that video. Um, like I made a video. I've made content about Synology. I've made content about Asus. I've made content about Intel, and for some reason they're all the bad guys now, and I don't understand why. Like, I understand that they've done some things that aren't necessarily ideal. As far as like, well, you can only use our hard drives. That's bullshit. I've got an HSG or a HGST drive in my Synology 1621XS Plus, and it's never giving me an issue. Like, I have third-party RAM in all of my Synology stuff, and it's never giving me an issue. But people read these things, and they're like, oh, well, Synology's the bad guy because they say we can only use their stuff. No, they said they can only support their stuff. They can't help you if you're using a third-party thing because they don't have any control over that manufacturing process. With Asus, look, I agree that Asus NUC was expensive, but Asus is the bad guy for some reason. Maybe they've got an issue with their communication or their I don't know. But every time I get an opportunity to get sponsored by a big guy, I then find out that I'm the asshole for letting the bad guy sponsor me. And I don't understand it. I genuinely don't understand why there is so much hate in technology, why so many people are just up in arms about this stuff, whereas Apple can release the same product 5 years in a row with nothing new and innovative other than, oh, they added a fish angle camera, a fisheye camera to their thing, and now they're the best company ever. They took away headphone jacks and they were brave. No, they weren't. No, they weren't. Oh, they added widgets to their home screens? Cool. Android's had that for a decade. But Apple is the good guy for locking you into an ecosystem and taking away features. But companies who are helping creators and doing things for creators are the bad guy. I don't understand the mentality to that. So anyway, I'm very ranty today, and I don't know why. Nighthawk, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. Snowball says all 41 terabyte HGST drives smooth running for 6 years, no failures. Yeah, and that's my point, is that people misconstrue what a company says, and now they're the bad guy because, oh, well, I can only use this proprietary hard drive. No, it's a SATA hard drive. Put the drive in, it's fine. Make sure it matches the rest of your RAID array, but the drive is fine. But people get so up in arms about a company saying something or a company doing something that they're trying to do. What they're trying to do is give you better service in the end. Not always. Look, not always. I admit that. But then you get these companies who are just awful to their users, and they're the brave ones. They're the ones that everybody wants to support. They're the ones, and I don't understand how we've been brainwashed like that. I don't get it. Right? Like this Synology DS1621XS Plus, all of the drives have been in there running constantly for years now, and I've only had one drive failure. And I think that only happened because of a power surge that my UPS missed or something. I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand why people get so up in arms. People have to have something to be, or something to be angry at. And lately it just seems like from maybe I'm misguided here, and I'm willing to accept that. And if I am, let me know. 100%. Like, I am not too big to admit when I'm wrong. Like, I absolutely will admit when I'm wrong, almost to a fault. But you get these companies that are trying to give a better service. They're trying to do something different. They're trying to forward technology. They're trying to build a new thing, and they're the bad guys. But you get companies who are doing the same thing year after year after year after year, and actually taking regressive steps and taking features away, or adding features that have been available on every other platform for a decade, And these companies that are doing what I think are the bad things are the good guys, and I don't understand it. I genuinely don't understand why it is that people think that companies who are moving forward are doing bad things, but companies who are working backwards are doing good things. I genuinely don't understand it. Like, look, I understand that Apple came out with the M chips, and those are great. They're super power efficient, they're super powerful, and congratulations. But it wasn't brave of them to take away the headphone jack. It wasn't revolutionary for them to add widgets to their dashboards. Bluetooth enables people to, I'm not going to say that. Sometimes I just want a wired connection, right? Sometimes I want to grab my really nice in-ear monitors and listen to some music. But if I had an Apple device, that wouldn't be an option. Look, even my S22 doesn't have that as an option. I have to plug in a dongle for that. But Apple took away the headphone jack first. And I don't know why everybody thought that was the best thing since sliced bread. Really? You're taking away features and now it's better? No, sometimes I want a wired plug. And I don't understand how these companies that are working backwards are the good guys, while companies that are trying to do new things, trying to do better things, trying to do more efficient things are the bad guys. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm gonna stop ranting on that. Let's see. Style over substance. I feel regarding Apple, that's exactly my view too. Apple is the devil. Yeah. Any company not able to support external stuff just is normal, I guess. Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, with not being able to support external stuff, these Synology devices don't care what hard drives you put in them. Like, they may say like, hey, we don't support that, but it doesn't mean it's not going to work. It just means they can't offer you support if you've got a third-party drive in there, because it could be that third-party drive that they don't have any control over maybe causing your issue. So I guess maybe if you're not tech savvy, then that's not the right approach. But I don't have any, I take that back. I have two Synology drives in my 916 because Synology sent them to me. But I've got Exos drives and HGST drives in my DS20 or 1621. Like, people get hung up on the little details and miss the big picture. And then that company's the bad guy because everybody missed the big picture. I don't get it. Anyway, how much time do you spend? This is, see, John says cancel culture. That's part of it. Snowball Effect says, how much time do you spend watching other content providers to inspire making content for yourself? Some. Here's the thing. Very much like some movie producers' content, or like some big names won't read your script. They won't read your novel. They won't read your thing. There's a reason for that, and that's because they don't want to read what you've written and then accidentally forget that they got that idea from you, and then write their own version of that story, only to get sued later because of unintentionally copying somebody else's idea. Like, I actually did that once, and it messed me up. But here's the thing. I've also had other content creators in the last few months steal my thumbnails, right? I've had other content creators steal my content, both deliberately, like downloading and re-uploading my content, but then also just basically recreating my content their own way. I've had that done, and it sucks. I hate it. Like, so I don't spend a lot of time watching other content creators in my own field. I watch a lot of car content. I watch a lot of police chase content. I watch a lot of courtroom drama content. I will watch a few tech channels, but most of the content I watch is car related. Most of the content I watch is, those police arrest videos. I really enjoy those lately. So I don't watch a lot of my industry's content because I don't want to accidentally recreate somebody's content. Like I will often pop in and watch a clip from something, or I'll go leave a comment on something, but I don't watch a lot of self-hosting content because I don't want to accidentally recreate somebody else's video, because I know how much that sucks. Like I watch a lot of Paul Hibbert. He's funny, but he does a lot of Home Assistant related things. He also does a lot of like robot vacuum stuff, but his videos are clever. They're smart. They're funny. They're well put together. And I'm never going to recreate one of his videos even accidentally. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Let's see. Was there? My Samsung phone doesn't have a headphone jack at all. Yeah, neither does mine. I've got a dongle for it that I actually got from a different phone entirely. I don't know what Fred said that got retracted. That's why you create volumes and back everything up, but the drives you like, or buy the drives you like and cover your butt. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I meant. It works properly, but we can't expect them to supply support for it. So I don't have an issue with that statement. Running HPE stuff with commodity hardware in it as well. Yeah. So like, yeah. So recently I reached out to a transmission shop about my car. We've talked about that, but I was like, so do I just bring you the car and you take the transmission out, or do I have to bring you the transmission? And he's like, no, we do everything. And I was like, just so I'm clear, it's because you can't warranty the work of someone else, right? And it's like, that's exactly right. Somebody that finally gets it, basically. So yeah, anyway. Peter says, greetings from Montreal. Thanks for stopping by. Fred says, Apple opened the can of worms on it and other companies followed suit but made fun of it before. Yeah, 100%. Like they took away the headphone jack and companies made fun of it for a while, and then companies started removing the headphone jack. For what? Like if you watch like Jerry Rig Everything, he tears apart every new phone there is, and there's always room for a headphone jack, but they've taken it out for no discernible reason other than Apple did it, so we're going to be the cool kids by doing it too. That's the only thing I can take from that. A lot of things the companies say they don't support has more to do with agreements they have between companies, little to do with drive compatibilities. I believe that. See, Radio says, what I don't like about Synology is they put up the warnings in the UI. They could simply refuse to support it if something happens. Okay, but they want you to know that they can't support it in the UI. And I think you can actually disable those warnings. Like I got a warning when I put in that HGST drive in my 1621. But after that, I log into it every day. Like I literally log into that device every day, and I've never gotten another warning about it. I've never seen another thing pop up on my dashboard about it. It was one warning saying, "Hey, this isn't technically supported," and I was like, "Cool, do it anyway," and it did it, and I've never had an issue with it. Linux Masters. Yeah, we agree on that. John says blue versus green. I mean, sorta. I mean, but it's not. Like blue and green still work together. They just don't want to. Blue just doesn't want to support green, and green doesn't want to support blue. Blue wants everybody to buy blue products, even though green products work with blue. But if I can get a blue product and a green product to work together at a lower cost, that's what I'm going to do. And I think that's the main what a lot of people who are a bit more tech savvy are likely to do. Yeah, and that's a good example. Thomas W says Apple removed the headphone jacks to be able to sell more AirPods with other Bluetooth devices. Yeah, 100%. And AirPods, like I've never actually used AirPods. I can genuinely say I have never put AirPods in my ears. I don't think I've ever held AirPods. I've had AirPod-like devices, but never actual AirPods. But I've heard they're mediocre at best. Like they've got neat tech built into them for like pass-through and ambient things and things like that. But of course I knocked him down. But it's the things that companies are doing. I have a problem with. Like I don't like that. It's like, oh well, you can only use this type of memory. No, that's not true at all. And let me show you that. Like all of my Synology devices. Well, okay, one of my Synology devices has just regular DDR3 or DDR4 RAM in it. And it's fine. I've never had an issue by taking the ECC memory out and putting non-ECC memory in it. It's been fine for years. And I've got 32 gigs of RAM that cost me like $80 or something, whereas that same 32 gigs of ECC RAM from Synology would have been like $500. So am I going to spend $80 or $500 to get the same effective solution? Like I'm not doing anything that requires ECC RAM on that system. So, Radio says, but they can't sell any wired headphones now. The problem is Apple has convinced people that wires are bad. Wires are bad for some reason that I don't understand. And so now, yeah, now if you want to use wires, you got to have a dongle. In fact, with most things, Apple these days, you have to have a dongle, which again, you got to buy from Apple or it probably won't work correctly. But somehow Apple are still the good guys, right? Somehow, even though Apple has forced you into using their ecosystem, if you've bought their device first, right? It's like, oh, well, now you have to buy a dongle if you want to use wired headphones, or you can just buy our AirPods, and it's just like keep buying our products, right? Let me lock you into this ecosystem that's going to be a real nightmare to get out of because we've made things so easy. But if you want to switch later, it's going to be a lot harder to switch over to a different ecosystem because we do this thing differently than they do, and you're not going to like it anymore. It's a perfectly fine thing on the other system, but not compared to their thing anymore. But you're comparing apples and oranges at that point. And these companies that do this, they're the good guys, but companies that are trying to move technology forward and do new innovative things, they're the bad guys. I genuinely don't understand it. And we keep coming back to this, and I apologize. Hate AirPods, but Bluetooth has my Temu headphones work better. I've still never bought anything from Temu. In fact, I had a conversation with my cousin about that this morning, who sent me a link. I'm not ever going to buy anything from Temu. And I get what you're saying, Thomas, about it being economics and business 101 and that sort of thing. But that's my point. Like, they've done a really good job of creating a really great ecosystem that locks you into it for a really long time. Which is great because it all works really well together. And if it wasn't so expensive and so restrictive simultaneously, I might consider doing it. But I don't like their business model. I don't like the way they treat their people, their customers. I don't think it's how customers should be treated. I like to have options. I like to have variety. I like to be able to do what I want to do with what I've got. If I've paid for something, if I've got something that I paid my money for, I should be able to do what I want with it. And Apple, for the longest time, even up until now, like it was only recently in the last couple of generations where they added widgets to the home to your phone. Really? I couldn't have widgets on my phone? Android's had widgets since version 4 or something? Like I don't understand. I don't understand how they are so far behind everything and so restrictive and so monopolistic, but they're still the good guys. It doesn't make sense to me. See, WhatsApp let Android FaceTime with Apple, but then they got bought out. Yeah, Collins, that wasn't my goal for today. I can tell you, Having all these hot takes on the stream was not my goal for today. Genuinely wasn't. But here we are. Thomas says, I don't like Apple either. Apple is only catered to the one and done ecosystem. Yeah. Look, and look, I think there's a market for that. But it's like, oh, if you want this, a phone's going to cost you $1,500. Their phone doesn't do anything that this doesn't do. I don't get it. I'm the wrong demographic for them, apparently. Since the EU made Apple USB-C instead of their proprietary port, did they find a new way to make that proprietary too? I don't know that they've found a way to make that proprietary, but my understanding is even though Apple is now using USB-C, it's still USB 2 speeds. Never mind that USB 4 is a thing. It's still relatively new. But my understanding is the Apple devices that even use USB-C are using USB 2 speeds. Yeah, it's not USB-C. However, depending on the phone type, the speeds vary. Yeah. Whereas I can. Yeah. So again, if you want the faster speeds, then you've got to pay more for the phone. Is $500 worth a faster USB port? Like, I don't. It's super, super frustrating that these companies that do this stuff are the good guys. I've said this a dozen times already. But companies who are just like, yeah, all of our phones have the same USB port. They all give you the same speeds. The only thing that's going to be different is the cable you use or the other end that you plug into. But all of our phones have the same USB speed. But they're the bad guys for doing that? No, that's dumb. I hate it. I don't know. Look, I have an iPhone 10, right? Or an iPhone X, I think is what they called it. But it's genuinely, it's my teleprompter, right? Like this clips onto the front of my screen or the front of my camera, and I read my scripts from an iPhone. I got this because of a collaboration I was going to do last year with a company who had an app that was only iPhone compatible at the time. And they're like, you need an iPhone for this. You know, like you can get an iPhone X, it'll be fine. So I went and got an iPhone X only to find out that the app needed a specific feature of the iPhone X that this refurb model didn't have. So I spent like $200 on the phone, only for it to not have the feature that it needed because it was a refurb model. So I ended up not being able to do that. So I was just out $200 because I thought it might have been a cool collaboration to do. So anyway, so yeah, my only. Oh, you know what? I also got an iPod Touch before that, because I was going to do some live streaming on Amazon. I was going to do like product reviews and that kind of stuff over on Amazon for a while before I started doing this all the time. Theirs was Apple only at the time as well. So I went and spent $170 or whatever on an iPod Touch to do these live streams, and then realized that like the money I would be making on there was going to be minimal. So I just, like the Thunderbolt and USB capabilities thing, it's the same, but different patent owners for the same name. Yeah, like they both do like 40 gigs of data transfer. They both use the same plug. They both you can get really good through speeds on Thunderbolt and USB 4, and you can use the same cables on both. But Apple just can't get their stuff together enough to be like, oh, here's technology that already works really well and it's been proven for years to work. Let's screw that up. Let's take that idea but make it worse. It seems to be Apple's internal motto. Let's take something pre-existing and make it worse and overcharge people for it. There's their business model. That's how it appears to me. But I haven't actually daily driven an iPhone since the iPhone 4. I think I had a 3 and a 4, and I was just like, this is stupid. Like, in order to be able to send picture messages, like through text on the iPhone 4 at first, you had to root your phone and install additional apps to get your iPhone to send a picture message via text. That was stupid, and that was an agreement between Apple and AT&T at the time, because iPhone was exclusive to AT&T for the first number of years, because apparently they were concerned that people using iPhones would send too many picture messages and overload the AT&T network. That's based on my memory from a long time ago, like 15 plus years ago. But it's like, let's just their business model seems to be, let's take something that pre-exists, let's make it worse, let's charge people too much, and that's how we're going to make our money, and it seems to be working for them, and I am blown away by that. I just don't get it. To do the same thing with Dell power delivery adapters, plug in another 90-watt compatible adapter without the Dell chip in it, it won't charge as fast. Yeah, I believe that. Dude, you got a Dell. Sucks to be you. That's pretty funny. I remember that, dude, you got a Dell. I remember those old commercials. That's pretty funny. But yeah, so that's, I want to, guys, I apologize. I genuinely am sorry. I didn't mean for today to turn into a rant about YouTube and about Apple, and that really wasn't my goal for today. But apparently I've got opinions that I didn't realize that were so near and dear to my heart, apparently. I don't know. We're all going to use the products that make the most sense to us when we can use them, when they're available to us. And again, I wouldn't have like this stuff behind me if you guys didn't watch my content and these companies didn't believe in me enough to send it to me to share with you guys. So I do feel like I'm very fortunate that I've got that going for me, and you guys have helped make that possible. So I'm going to thank you guys, and again apologize for the excessive ranting today. Definitely was not my intention. I just, certain things really like what John said, are like a thorn in the saddle. It's just, you think you're past it, and there's still a bit more there. So thank you all for putting up with my nonsense, with my ranty behavior today. Not entirely sure where all of that came from, but apparently I've got some opinions on things. So just want to see, duplicate. Just want to look at something over here real quick. To do Linux Master says, no need to apologize. Genuine content here. Yeah. And it's probably going to get me. Anyway, it doesn't matter. That's why I buy old PCs on eBay. I stick to HP over Dell for the PDF manuals and hardware support, and work around to keep them working longer. Yeah, and I think that's great. I actually made a video about doing stuff like that, where I was talking about using. I made a whole video talking about using, or spending $50 or $60 on a refurb unit off of eBay that has an x86 processor or an x64 processor, whatever, in it, and using that instead of a Raspberry Pi for your home lab. And look, I know I wasn't the first one to make that video, but lots of other very similar videos came out in my little ecosphere after I made that video. I've had other, like I had some Open Media Vault videos where I made a video and somebody basically just duplicated it right down to my thumbnail. And that kind of pissed me off a little bit, but that's the nature of content creation, right? I guess that's how you know you've made it at least a little bit, when people start using your video ideas. But no, I dig the idea of using refurb units from companies that have either gone out of business or they've redeployed their fleet and they're just offloading their old workstations. Those workstations will run for years past what you think they should. I think, man, I can't think of. Refurb. Man, I'll never find that video. But yeah, I made this whole video about using eBay. Maybe I can look it up that way. eBay. No. Raspberry Pi. Maybe I can find it that way. Oh man, 50 videos on Raspberry Pi. What? Oh, there we go. Man, that was weird. I'll never find it. That makes me sad. But anyway, yeah, I think it's a great idea. It keeps more stuff out of landfills. It gives them a longer life. They're less expensive. See, I think for starting home labbers, that's a good way to get started. Yeah, it's a perfect way to get started. If you can pick up an eBay workstation, let's just go look. Right, let's do that. Reefer workstation. So some of these are a bit more expensive. No RAM, no CPU. But I tell you what, let's do this. Let's sort by price, shipping, lowest first. Yeah, so you get $100, an AMD 8570. That's going to be a power hungry beast. I had an 8350 for a while. It was an FX processor with the bulldozer architecture, and they're power hungry, not super efficient, but like some of these Elite desks, I've got 3 Elite desks stored away right now. These prices have actually come up quite a bit since I made that video. Like I picked up multiple Elite Desk 800 G2s, I think, for like $60 a piece. Let's do this instead. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Lenovo ThinkCenter with an i5 7600, 16 gigs of RAM, $35. And of course that's a bid or best offer, but like let's just do a buy it now. Yeah, $40 for an Optiplex, Asus Chromebook. It's got a Celeron processor. You could probably bootload that. Dell Optiplex, small form factor, i5 4750, which will be a great entry level at $50 with shipping. Like, yeah, that one's free local shipping. This one's $50. And this has got a hard drive and RAM in it. Like $50 out the door, you're good to go. So yeah, there's a ton of these options out there. This is the perfect way to get started if you don't want to spend a ton of money to give it a try. So anyway, yeah, no, like I'm a big fan of going that route. So anyway, let's see. Duplication is a form of flattery. Yeah, sort of. Cost less, and those devices can still do a lot. 100% agree with that. Thomas says, I'm still rocking an HP compact machine for my home lab with an i7 3770. That's an old machine, but if it still works, then I don't know what the, let's see, i7 3770. No, okay, yeah, it's fine. TDP of 77 watts, so it's a little power hungry, but it's also, I don't even know when that came out. When did that come out? Release date? Oh, it was 2012. 12 years ago that came out, and it's still working just fine. Yeah, so a lot of tech has been gone through and is more efficient now, but if it works, I don't see what the point is in spending $500 when you could do the same thing for 50 or 60 or 75. Yeah, you're going to pay for it in power, but over how long? It just, I don't know. I went for my modern mini PC instead. It works perfectly. Yeah, my whole home lab was mini PCs for the longest time. That run at like 30 or 45 watts, at full tilt basically, and it worked really, really well. Like this rack behind me, I think it's currently running like about 450 watts. The whole rack is 450 watts, which still isn't great, but that's two NASA's, an HL15, a mini PC, and a Zima Cube. All of that's running at like 450 watts. So, it's not that much when you get right down to it. I've seen people are using thousands and thousands of watts on a rack this size because they're using, whatever, right? But yeah, sometimes low power is the way to go. But if you can get a good deal on something that's not quite as power efficient, you can make it work, and it's not a big deal. So yeah. Let's see. I'm gonna do this just over here real quick. Let's see. Sorry, just kind of looking at some stuff over here real quick. That's fine. And that's a fair point. Radu says 450 watts is huge for me. I live in Europe. Yeah, 100%. I'm really lucky here that the power here, at least for now, is relatively cheap. So in Colorado Springs, anyway, where I'm located, your water, electricity, and gas are all one bill. It's all one provider. And my utility bill this month was $244 for water, gas, and power. So honestly, not too bad, if I'm being honest. Last month was like $280. Last month was weird. We had a lot of other stuff going on, but yeah, so like $245 for all of my utilities minus trash. But yeah, and I know that power draw is absolutely a deciding factor for some people. Like, like I could probably run most of this on like 2 mini PCs and a NAS and be just fine. And I may have to go back to that at some point because they're talking about changing billing here to do like peak hours for billing. We'll see how it goes. But it is what it is at this point. Let's see what else we got here. My Asus uses about 30 watts idling. Yeah. My Asus, I don't know where I got Asus. I think there was other stuff. My setup uses about 30 watts, which is really, really efficient. That's pretty great. My new project is an HP EliteDesk 800G4 with an i7-8700, and it feels like the best bang for the buck. Colin agrees. Yeah, those like 7th, 8th gen processors were great. Picked up an HP Z820 a few months ago, dual Xeon, 256 gigs of RAM, K500, 225 watts. Honestly, not bad. And Radio says, but that is just a mini PC and router. Sometimes that's all you need. Like, honestly, sometimes that's all you need. If I wasn't like doing transcoding with some of my video, because I've got a couple of people outside of my home who have access. If I wasn't transcoding for them, it wouldn't be an issue, and I could do everything probably on a mini PC with, with integrated graphics and be just fine. I can live with that. Fortunately, hydro is super reasonable where I'm located, and that's great. I think that's great. I think we're not doing enough with renewable, reusable resources to generate power, but that's a rant I don't want to go off on. Same here. We were forced to use digital meters now with the remote readout. Peak time billing is coming, and that's going to hurt. Yeah, I'm dealing with the same thing. I think that's coming down, and I don't know when. Dual Xeons. I've never. I don't think I've ever had anything with dual processors in it. It'd be neat, but I don't think I've ever had anything with it. It's now loaded with 128 gigs of RAM, running TrueNAS bare metal. I love that workstation. It's been a horse. I believe it. I really do. Xeon processors are great for certain things and not so great for other things. And I learned that kind of the hard way when I got my first Synology. I thought it was going to be great for like transcoding or playing video and that sort of thing. And it was a Xeon processor that just wouldn't transcode anything. So that's its own bucket of worms. I replaced the Lenovo mini PCs with 2 Lenovo TS140 Think servers. I don't know what a TS140 is. I'm curious. TS-140. Oh, okay. I've had something similar to that. Of course, they're all similar to that, I think. No, that's cool. I dig that. That's actually really neat. One other thing I wanted to look at here. while I'm here. All right, cool. All right. Forgot to mention that it also contains several HGST SAS and SATA drives. That's cool. I dig that. I don't know if you guys saw, I think I posted on social media yesterday. Let me get logged into this and grab this real quick so I can share it with you. Let me grab this. So eBay is having, well, I say eBay. It is eBay. That link is an eBay link. That is over to a hard drive remanufacturing company, whatever, that I have used multiple times in the past. And they're doing 12 terabyte SATA HGST Ultra Stars for $80 a piece. I'll just show you. Yeah, so those right there. And they come with a 5-year warranty. I've bought several drives from these guys. They've been great to work with. I've never had a drive fail from them yet. I mean, in time, of course. But they've been amazing to work with. They ship fast. But yeah, $80 for some 12 terabyte SATA drives. And look, that's just one deal that I found and shared. But no, I wanted to share that in case you hadn't seen it. So, Thomas says, hi from Switzerland. Power is quite expensive here. Do you shut down your IT infrastructure at night time to save power consumption and costs? I do not. That's not to say that I won't at some point, but the reality is I probably won't because we use Plex basically 24/7. Like the kid watches it a lot when he's home, if he's in his room playing or whatever. The wife watches it a lot while she does her stuff around the house, whether it's projects or sewing or whatever she's doing. She's usually got Plex going. At night, we've got Plex going for the white noise background kind of stuff because we live in kind of a noisy neighborhood and our kid's super noisy. So I probably won't ever do that. So that's not to say that I won't figure out some reconfiguration of this to save me money if peak billing gets changed here in Colorado, like they're talking about. But no, for right now, I don't shut everything down. In fact, the only thing, I've got one NAS that I use for backups that only comes on for a couple hours once a week to do a backup, and then it shuts back down after that's done. But I need to fix that too. Sorry, I got to check a couple of things. Yeah, sorry, just reading some stuff over in Discord. But anyway, yeah. So to answer your question, I currently don't shut things down at night, but I may reconfigure this to be more efficient by using some mini PCs that I've still got laying around from before I switched to all of this. I've got I've actually got a mini PC somewhere. I think it's right here. This one. So I've got this AU Star Gem 12 mini PC. It's a little beast. I used this for months as my daily driver. It was amazing. But it's also got an Oculink port on the front, which means I could get a GPU adapter or whatever for Oculink, and actually use a mini PC and a low powered GPU to do all of my transcoding with far less power consumption, and then I could put like all of my other Proxmox stuff on another. My whole home lab used to run on this. It's the Trig Key S5. It's got a Ryzen 7 5000 series with AMD Radeon graphics. I think it's only got a 1 gig NIC on it, so I might look for something with like a 2.5 gig NIC on it. I might even switch over to the Asus NUC that I reviewed recently. That's got a 2.5 gig NIC on it. but yeah, so if it ever comes to a point where power gets ridiculously expensive, I may go that route and just downsize, like kind of downsize things and shut a bunch of stuff down as necessary. But for right now, I don't. Colin said he just bought some 4 terabyte drives from that vendor. Peter says, "What if I told you that my wife and I live in a home with multiple floors, pool, thermo pump, electricity bills, $140 a month? That's expensive as far as I can tell. I don't know. Like my water my water water, sewer, gas, and electric is like $200 to $300 a month, depending on the month. So I'm guessing that's expensive just for electricity. I've unfortunately I've been in Colorado for so long in this system. I don't know. I've been kind of isolated from what that looks like. I know that like we're slightly above average as far as what we pay each month, but not like I think a couple of other people I've talked to, like their full utility bill for everything is like $180 a month. With like 2 people living in the house, TVs and computers and all of that sort of stuff. So if all of this behind me and all of the other nonsense strewn throughout the house is only costing me an extra $60 a month, I'm okay with that. At least for now. Sadly, no NVMe on the Z820. You could get a PCI card for that, couldn't you? To put NVMe in the Z20, the Z820 rather. Peter says, great price on those 12 terabytes you provided. Used HGST drives. I was hit and miss. I had to send back several drives. I've never had that issue, but of course everything's a little different. Okay, I wasn't sure. I'm glad I'm getting some clarification on whether or not that's expensive. So Collins is saying his electric bill is $600. I can't even imagine. That is bonkers to me. That's so much. I wouldn't be in this hobby if that was the case. I absolutely wouldn't be doing this if that was the case. That includes water heating and everything else that comes from it. Oh, okay. Well, that's not bad then. Oh, and that's in Canadian funds. That's great. So that's even less. That's great. If I didn't have solar, mine would be like that in the summer. Yeah, I rent, so I'm not adding solar. But I would like to have solar. I'd love to have a whole solar setup here. Neighbors across the street added solar a couple of years ago. I don't know. I don't talk to them, so I don't know what their bill looks like. But I'd love to have solar. It doesn't make sense since I rent. Let's see. What was this? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's the full electric bill, AC, washer, dryer, etc. All that, gas, sewer, and waters. Wow. Yeah. So we're actually pretty fortunate. Our water heater is gas, and I think that probably helps a little bit. But I think our electricity here is pretty inexpensive overall. It'll just suck if my power bill goes through the roof. Also, like we used to have, like we've got central heat but not central AC. So we did window units for a long time, but that caused all kinds of other issues. So last summer, when I still had that Linode money, we put a swimming pool in the backyard and a big 9x18 above ground pool back there. And when it gets hot, we just go get in that. And that does really well for us. Like at night, if it's too hot at night, well, not now, but during the summer, if it was too hot at night, we'd go soak out there for 15 or 20 minutes and bring our core temperature down and go to bed and sleep really well. So, no, I can't imagine paying $600 a month for electricity. Of course, you've got kids, like plural, and you work from home, and you've got a lot of other stuff that I'm sure adds to that. The dilemma is that my wife and I are thinking about downsizing, looking at condo life actually. So my main concern is going to be noise. All of my gear currently located in our garage. Yeah, that might be a problem. I basically all of my gear is right here behind me, and there's no noise. Like, I can't say there's no noise, but like when I spin up my Streamlabs, or not my Streamlabs OBS. When I spin up OBS, my sound floor is at like less than negative 40, which is perfectly acceptable. Every once in a while, I've got to do some audio cleanup, but I can just stop talking for 10 seconds and then use that as the floor with which to base all of the noise removal, and it's fine. Well, he thought about coming in and then changed his mind for some reason. So I don't know what that was, but yeah, we can't really downsize too much. We're in a 2-bedroom place that's less than 900 square feet. So, and there's 3 of us here. I just wish we had a second bathroom. Honestly, I just wish we had a second bathroom. But yeah, no, we can't really downsize from where we are at the moment without going super crazy. So yeah. Yeah, I like I said, I had something that was like a Z820. It was a little server in a box like that, but that was years ago. Still a 2-bedroom place, but I lived by myself, so I didn't care how much noise it made in the other room with the door closed. It was never an issue for me. So yeah, I can't. I would imagine that would be bad. If I had to bring one into the house, the wife wouldn't like that at all. So, man, wanted to see, where did it go? It's gonna show me that. It is gonna show me that. Man, all right. Well, oh man. We have been at this for just over 3 hours now. That's crazy. Last 2 have only been like 2.5. Been at this for 3. I think I'm gonna start wrapping this up here pretty quick, guys. I can start to feel it in my throat. I still need to grab some lunch and kind of go see what the wife's been up to and that sort of thing. But thank you guys. I do appreciate you hanging out with me for the last couple hours, whether you've been here the whole time or just part of the time. Super, super appreciate that. Radu, thank you for that. John, thank you. If you guys want to hit the like button on this video, that'd be amazing. If you feel the urge to go over to my Intel video and hit the like button on that, that would be amazing as well. That's come up to like 77.5%, so we brought it up a little, and I really appreciate that. But yeah, if you want to check out the links in the video description, and buy anything from any of those links, those are affiliate links, and that'll help me out. Or you can become a patron, whatever. But again, thank you guys so much for putting up with my ranty behavior today. Super, super appreciate you being here. Sven, thank you for your support and hanging out. Peter, yeah, been at it for just over 3 hours and about 7 minutes at this point. Dorkstick, appreciate you being here. Linux Master, thanks for the chat and the stream. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. Peter says, I'm only subbed to a handful of YouTube channels, and this is one of them. That means a lot to me. Thank you. Really do appreciate that. Thomas brings up an interesting point where you can just outsource some of that if it makes sense. Absolutely. That's cool. But anyway, guys, thank you. I appreciate you hanging out with me today and yesterday and however long you've been part of the community. It really means a lot. So hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And I think with all of that said, I am going to go ahead and wrap this up. I'll talk to you next time.